don't give a fuck anymore.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Loomis Show. And if it's your first time here or not, hit that like button, subscribe up. The way we're going to do tonight's episode is I'm going to have Keith Shibley on. We're going to be talking, and then we're going to go into the chat. So this is like, an open forum. Feel free to comment in the chat, ask questions, say whatever you want. I want to give you, though, a little preview first. If you guys haven't seen Fighting Crime and Demons, just to give you a little idea of who our guest is tonight, and then we're going to bring him on in. So hit that like button, subscribe up, and we'll be right back with Keith Shibley.
There were countless heroes on that September morning when the Washington Navy Yard was just thrown into utter chaos.
That's when a gunman took his life as well as the lives of 12 others. Well, today, one of the first police officers to respond when the shots rang out was honored.
Corporal Keith Shibley is presented the Valor Award for his immediate response and courageous actions during the shooting rampage at the Washington Navy Yard on September 6th.
When we found people, we would escort them out because we didn't know where the shooter was. So we didn't want to direct people out of the door when the shooter could be around the corner. So half of us would escort them out, half the team would continue, and then we would just, once they were escorted out, we would meet back up and go back in.
Multiple shots fired, multiple people down.
We didn't know if they were law enforcement shots or from the suspect at the time. They were on multiple levels as we were coming down the steps, but you could hear the shots while we were inside the building.
Can you describe the faces that you were rescuing?
Just shocked and scared, I guess. Some were calm and some were shocked and scared. It was just a mix of all emotions. I believe 77 law enforcement officers that entered the building that day, not to mention the countless people that were outside of the building. So it was an effort by the whole community and all the law enforcement partners within the district. It doesn't hit you probably until about the time you go home. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I couldn't live with myself knowing that I could do something to save lives and didn't do it. I wouldn't be able to live with myself knowing that I could have done something and didn't do anything at all.
You would take them out at night, and while you're on them, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do it all tomorrow. This is the last. This is the last. Yeah, then tomorrow you make it for about 10 seconds.
Or you space them out, you're like, okay, I'm going to have 5 today, 5 tomorrow, 5 the next day. And then the first day, you're like, all right, we'll have 7 today, then I'll have 5, but it was miserable, man. It was a miserable existence. I knew I couldn't sustain the pills like I was doing. So I finally went back to my doctor. I'm like, dude, he was getting mad at me because every time I'd go, they make you pee when you go to the pain clinic or whatever. Every time I pee, I'd have alcohol in my system. He's like, I told you can't drink on this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, man, sorry. It was I'd make some bullshit excuse up that but he just kept giving them to me. But so when I finally told him, I said, I need off of this, man. And he goes, okay, well, don't just stop taking them because you're not going to feel well. I was like, well, no shit, dude. I'm going to get you on a taper, and we'll taper off of it. I was like, all right, cool. So I did the taper the way I should, man, because I wanted off of it. And as soon as that taper was done, my alcohol tripled, man. My alcohol went every single day from the time I got off to the time I blacked out. Started at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's videos of us on vacation at the beach, and all my nieces put a talent show together for everybody at the end of the week, and they're trying to wake me up on the couch.
And there he is. What is going on, Keith? How you doing, my man?
Good, buddy. What's up?
No, man, I want to thank you for doing this. I haven't done a live in quite some time. I also want to thank, though, the people that are watching right now and let everyone know if you just came in again that this is got absolutely an open chat forum. Comment in there, hit that like button. It helps us out a lot, helps get this moving. And I'm going to talk to Keith a little bit. And then me, I jump back in and I check every comment, everything like that, and bring it in. And I already see Carolyn Dwyer, OG Ruby, Rodney Stewart. Get to the ducking point. How you guys all doing? Rodney, what's going on, my friend? I know you like the addiction type stuff, and this is right up your alley, my man. I was thinking about you beforehand. So how you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on here. I haven't done a live. I think I did one live a couple years ago, so this will be fun, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And it's been a little while for me myself. Just been real busy with personal stuff and stuff like that, and editing and getting other episodes out there. And wanted to do the live with you. A lot of people, I put surveys up at time, and I always ask people what do they want to see the most of: mafia stuff, addiction stuff, stuff like that. And it's always music. It's always a mix of both. But why don't we start it off? Almost kind of like, for the people that didn't see the episode before, like, a little brief history of like, your upbringing, and we'll just fire back and forth from there, my man.
Yeah, man. So
where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I was born in Richmond, Virginia, and I was raised to a pretty old school Lebanese Catholic family. And, I guess being raised the way I was, it was drilled into our heads, at an early age that men don't show emotions. The first time that really came to light was when I was 11 or 12, and my grandfather passed away right in front of me and my brother. And, I got very emotional, and, my dad told me to turn my tears off because we needed to be strong for my mom and my sisters and stuff. So at an early age, I just suppressed everything, man. Had a great childhood, though. Played a lot of sports. The one thing that I can remember, though, is I've always wanted to be a cop for some reason. I don't know how that got in my head. I've got no family members that are in law enforcement. I just always wanted to be a cop. So, became a police officer in 2002. And, there's my grandfather. There he is.
Yeah.
I
know that was a big impact on. I know that was a big little impact on your life back then. So that up,
it was huge, man. Like he owned restaurants in Richmond, and just growing up, man, I grew up in his restaurants. Cooking, cleaning, doing whatever. I was close to all my grandparents, but especially him, man. He was the one that I was really, really close to.
And do you want to say what happened or no?
Oh yeah. So sorry.
No. Don't apologize. I know it's personal, man.
It's fine, man. I'm an open book, brother. He had heart problems. I remember visiting him in the hospital. He had one of the first pig valves put in his heart back in, I don't know, early 80s or so. And then also he had one of the first pacemakers. I remember watching cartoons with him on the couch, and he's sitting there in his wife beater, and you could actually hear it. It just sounded like a clock. You could hear it ticking. It used to get on my damn nerves, man, because you could hear his pacemaker ticking. Just being a stubborn old Middle Eastern guy, man, he didn't take his meds the way he should. He was probably a lot more active than he should be. And he just, at age 61, we were at we were looking to buy a family river house, and me and my brother were fishing, and he was down there fishing with us, or just watching us fish, really. And he had a heart attack and passed away right there. So it was really
this happened right in front of you, right?
Oh yeah. We were talking. We were packing up, getting ready to go eat lunch, and he took like 2 steps, went to his knees, and then face planted. I started laughing because he fucked around a lot. I thought he was fucking with me.
And everyone laughs. There's nothing funnier when someone falls. You know what I mean? Like when it's an accidental slip or fall. Yeah.
So then he stayed there, and me and my brother and I turned him over, and his face was it was that gray blue. Ran help, and it was just we were way out there, man. I think it took the ambulance like 45 minutes to get there. My dad did CPR on him. I even brought him back once, but it was just his heart was shot, man. He was just too far gone.
So that's something that hits you right away, like as a young child. Besides all the stuff that you're about to talk about that you've been through and seen, I mean, right out of the gate, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, it was definitely my first like really traumatic incident that I can recall. But yeah, man. So yeah, it was taught, very young at a very young age that men don't show emotions, and if you got to have them, go into another room or go into a closet where nobody can see you, and do what you got to do, and come back out. So I thought that was weakness. I thought showing those kind of emotions was a weakness, and that's just how I was brought up, man. That's what my brain was programmed to believe at a young age, and to carry that, all the way. I can't remember even crying for any of my other grandparents that passed away after that. It was sad, but it's just, I didn't cry for a long time after that. I don't think, when something like that happened, but, my parents said I always want to be a cop. So, high school, college was cool. I drank, but I didn't do any drugs because I want to be a cop. I think I smoked weed like twice in my life. In high school, it was my senior year. I was with some girl I was dating because she smoked a lot, but I didn't enjoy it really. And drinking in our family it was not an issue. Like, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, I remember drinking at 14 and 15, maybe even 13 at like Christmas or, family get-togethers and stuff. And nobody really cared. We weren't even hiding it. We just did it out in the open. And high school, partied like a normal high school kid, drank beer. College, I drank too. Like, it was weekend stuff or tailgating for footballs. I even bartended in college for a couple of years, but it wasn't an issue for us. It wasn't an issue for me. I didn't look at it as, something I had to worry about. Met my wife in college. I think right around my 21st birthday. So we dated for several years. After we left school, moved to Northern Virginia. She went back to Northern Virginia. I went to Richmond. It was about an hour and a half away, and applied for different police departments and got hired up here in Northern Virginia at the Washington Port Authority Police in 2002. So, and that was great, man. It was like my goal that I wanted to achieve. But growing up, like thinking about police work, you just think about all the cool shit, like the car chases and the arresting the bad guy, and your brain doesn't really dive into the morbid, nasty stuff or some of the harder things you have to do. So, I think I was off field training for like 3 months, and I arrested a kid for DUI. I didn't know he was mentally challenged. And as I was cleaning out my car, another officer was supposed to be watching him. The kid with handcuffs on took off we have a long portion of highway at Dulles. He took off running into the highway, like looking left, right where the cars were coming. And he jumped. He tried to jump in front of an 18-wheeler, but he hit the side of it. And it threw him like, I don't know, 50, 60 feet, ripped him out of his shoes. And he was still alive, but he was a mess. Helicopter came down, picked him up. Some troopers came to help out because they were right there. And I remember one of the troopers goes, "Hey, whose car stop was this?" I was like, "It's mine." And he was like, he just pointed with the dark humor and he goes, "Your career's over." And he walked away. And I was like, shit, man. I mean, maybe it did. The kid was ultimately my responsibility. Even though
how long, not to cut it, how long were you a cop about when this happened?
3 months.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, I did 6 months in the academy. I did 12 weeks on field training. And this was 3 months after I was like a solo cop. And the kid lived, he got life flight to Fairfax and they patched him up. I mean, he was pretty messed up afterwards, but it bothered me, man. Like, I couldn't go to sleep that night. I just remember seeing like the impact. Every time I shut my eyes, I would see the impact and then it didn't help that I don't know, for the next 6 months driving down the highway, one of his shoes was still on the shoulder. So I'd like see his shoe. But it bothered me, man. And there was no way I was going to tell anybody it bothered me though, I started questioning myself whether I was, strong enough to do this or not. Because of the way I felt about that stuff. And eventually, if you push it down far enough, you get over it. So I just pushed it down and, just kept moving. But like your cups you can only push so much stuff down before it explodes, man.
Yeah. And Keith, wasn't it though, back in your time, you couldn't even, and thank you very much, Matt, and everyone in the chat. Keep it going. We'll get to all of you saying thank you, OG Ruby, for holding it down with the wrench out there. But wasn't it though? So I want to let the people understand, when you go to the academy, there's no training for what you're about to see on the job.
There is now, thankfully. But back then, no. We might have had like a 2 hour block on, mental health and positive coping skills. But man, you're 21, 22 years old. That stuff goes in one ear and out the other, Can
I ask you one question, Keith?
Yeah, man.
Because I think, don't take us the wrong way, I think you would have been a street guy if you weren't a cop, if you were in a different neighborhood.
It's a very fine line, my friend. It's a very fine line. I mean, honestly, because I was thinking about it, since we've talked several times, and it's you play cops and robbers growing up, because whether you're the cop or the robber, it's exciting, and you get that adrenaline boost, and yeah, man, it's a fine line, and that's why you see so many cops, go to the other side a lot. Like, I mean, like I watched a special on that New York. There's like 2 New York cops that ended up being like basically drug mules in the 80s or something.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Eppolito and Caracappa with the mob. You mean, but there were
2 New York. Yeah, there were 2 New York cops that were, but it's just, I mean, it's a fine line, man. It's all about adrenaline and stuff, really.
And so whenever you had to put someone down or whatever, though, did that affect with you?
No, it's only happened once and it didn't, because that was a clear cut, like, you're trying to kill me or my partner, and it's, that's why, like, a lot of times when I do this presentation, I don't even talk about it, because it sucked to have to do it. But and I kind of, you question yourself whether you could have done stuff different or not, but it didn't affect me the way, get into a car where a dead baby was in a hot car in July for 3 hours. And, you can tell just by like the foam that comes out of the mouth. You break the window and you can smell it, man. That baby's been in there for hours and hours. Or like when I was in Richmond, the 7-year-old at 5 o'clock in the afternoon riding her bike that caught a stray bullet out because there was a gunfight. Stuff like that affects me.
Stuff with kids, though, man, got to be tough. And pedophilia type shit without breaking someone's face open. It's got to be tough. And I want the people just to know a little bit, though, real quick, currently, too, though, like, some stuff that just happened recently. Like, you were involved with that DCU plane crash with the Olympic Russian ice skating team, was it?
They were American ice skating team. But,
I'm sorry, American. Okay.
Like their coaches were, there was some Russian kids on there, I believe. Honestly, I stopped reading about it because it was messing me up, man. But yeah, I got there probably a half hour after the crash.
Yeah.
And I'm part of our peer support team, and I knew that this was going to affect a lot of people. So I wanted to go where the officers and the firefighters were seeing all the bad stuff. So I went right to the North Loading Dock where they were bringing the remains of people. And, unbeknownst to me, I get there and they're like, you're in charge of the casualty collection point, me and 2 other guys. So basically because this doesn't sound nice, but the bodies are evidence at this point. So you collect evidence, until they're taken away it has to be somebody has to stay with it for chain of custody issues and stuff. So, so I got down there at the North Dock. I was just kind of being there for the firefighters and the cops, and ended up being there for like the first 3 hours where they were bringing the remains of people up. So, and I knew going there that it was going to be, I could kind of actually mentally prepare a little bit for that one. The one
because I jumped ahead a lot, obviously, and this was after, your whole battle with your demons and everything. So you had the proper tools, which we're going to go back to and all that. I just wanted though to bring up like a current event though that, people though would understand that you've seen. And, and then that Navy Yard shooting, I played the clip for that prior to that. Now this is going back. What's that? This about 8 years ago?
2013 was the Navy Yard, September 6th.
Oh, 2013. So about 12, 13 years ago, right?
Yeah. It doesn't even seem like it's been that long. It's kind of like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So what happened there, man?
So an active shooter, an employee, Aaron Alexis, went to the Navy Yard with a shotgun, and he was mentally ill. He thought that so what they do with the Navy Yard, one of the things they do is called ELF technology, electronic low frequency. I don't know what it is. It's some military stuff. I don't know, subs or whatever. But he thought that the ELF project was to control his brain. So he went in there with a shotgun and just started, shooting whoever he could. Most of them were pretty point blank to a few feet away, headshots. And it just goes back to like the innocence thing, man, because one of the first people I saw was a lady in a blue dress, just sitting at her. Well, you could tell it was her desk right there. And then half of her face is missing. It just goes to these people were sitting at their desks doing their job on a random, I don't know what it was, Tuesday, Thursday. And then that happened. So that one was pretty nasty. But the other thing to that one was usually like in cop work, by the time you figure out that could have killed you, it's over. And you didn't, you're safe or whatever. But this one, it was just like going in there, man. I had time to prepare on the few mile drive there and the 2-block run to the building, and then going in the building, it was just like, this one could be it at this point. So that one, I was scared shitless, to be honest with you. I was scared shitless going in that building. But
with the cubicles. And what's up, Linda? Linda Scarpa in the house. Great to see you, Linda. Thanks for being here. Well, so when you're going in, man, because this is different, man. Like, people got to realize, like, you're going in, man, to save people you don't even know. Yeah. And with the cubicles, and you're walking in there. I mean, do people got to freeze up at times, man? I mean, I'm sure
there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people outside that wouldn't go inside for sure. Cops, I'm talking. Yeah. And then finally, when I think it was like the third time I came back out and went back in. We try to grab some EMS personnel to go in there to take care of the wounded. And this one lady, like halfway there, she kind of just started. I was like, man, it's going to be more of a liability than anything. But yeah, you definitely.
What was your mentality though, you were more like, let's get it on, right?
Well, I was scared. I knew I wanted to.
But you would move forward though. Like you were scared, but you would go in. That's because those cubicles you said, because it was like an FBI building, was this?
It was a Navy Yard, so it was military.
Navy Yard, they were like high cubicles though, where you can't even see I'm just imagining every fucking corner, man. Like you don't know when you go like this, boom, you're gone.
Yeah,
like, that's got to be.
It was they were 5 foot tall because most of the stuff in there was like classified to some level. So they were 5 foot high cubicle walls, and then a lot of doors that were like literally combo lock that you couldn't get in at all. But man, this guy was running up the stairs, shooting people, running down the hall, back down the stairs. He was just running around and around and around, which is why it took so long to find him. I think it was something like 36 minutes or something, which is very long for an active shooter. Yeah. And then when we walked in, the security guard at the front door was deceased. We had to step over him to get into the building.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, the second, it's not like you're going in there, you're looking like you're walking over bodies right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So like, man, it's easy for anyone to be like, oh yeah, I would do this, I would do that, but you don't know until you're there. Until
It's that whole fight, flight, or freeze. Some people freeze, some people run, some people go in. And I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to make it sound like I was petrified, man. It was just, I can't really describe it. I thought that one might be it, which was pretty much like the only time in my whole cop career that I had time to think about like what was happening before I went in there. But they had a bunch of good cops in there, man. That's the other thing. Like, you just got to trust. You got to trust the people that you're going in there with. And I didn't even know half the people I went in there with, but you trust that they can do their job well, and the odds are in your favor. I was honestly actually really worried more about getting shot by another cop, because you put 70 people in a building and you don't know where we're all on different radio channels and stuff. I was kind of worried about getting shot by a cop, and I'm pretty surprised that no one got shot that day by another police officer.
I've always thought of that if I was ever in a shootout like that, going around the corner, the second I see someone, I mean, I think I just might shoot. Like I mean, you got to identify, then shoot, and there might not be time. And like, I mean, does that happen often though? Like, other cops clip other, like, I'm not saying, see the way I thought clip, but I'm sure it has happened where other cops accidentally, shot the other cops. I'm not saying maybe not in your department or whatever, but I mean, because people gotta be scared.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens pretty frequently. I mean, there was this video I just saw where these two cops were going in a house I don't know what they were looking for. And this one cop kind of looks to her left, and it's just a big, like, 6-foot mirror. So she looks to the left and just sees something with a gun, and she shoots the mirror. Yeah. So it can happen that quick, but there's a lot of times so, I mean, being a detective and being in plain clothes for a number of years, there's a lot of times that you go on stuff and in your brain, you're a cop, so you're going, but you're in plain clothes. And a lot of times, like, the accidental shootings is like officers responding to something and a plainclothes guy shows up, but they don't really know that they're in plain clothes, and they see a guy with a gun in plain clothes, and they end up, shooting one of their coworkers by accident. Damn. But it happens a lot. Yeah, it happens a lot. There was one other one that I don't know if he got shot by the cop or not, but it was Fairfax, right there. It was probably 5 miles from here.
Yeah, I was out there. I love that town. I was at the Johnny Depp trial. Like, this
place was a zoo back Johnny Depp days.
I was there the last 2 weeks. But
you had a guy on the driver's side and a guy on the passenger side, and the occupant of the vehicle pulls a gun, and they're shooting at this, but they're shooting at him, but they're shooting right at each other too. So one of the guys got hit in the arm. I don't know if it was from the bad guy in the car or the guy on the other side of the vehicle, but yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said before, there's no. They prepare you for, like, tactical shooting and stuff like that in the academy and stuff. But like, I tell everyone that, because in the genre that I'm in, like with the mafia genre, everyone will just yell rat and this and that or rat because they watch Goodfellas too many times, and they never actually, they never had. It's easy to just watch something and say, oh, I'm going to do it. I would have done it this way. I would have done it that way. And you always see it in comments. I saw a video with a bear chasing a guy, and the guy's like, why didn't you just pick up the shotgun and shoot him in the, like, I'm like, come on, man. You don't know what you're going to do until you're tested.
I also love the myth that cops we should shoot to wound. Like, you didn't have to kill him. You should have shot the gun out of his hand. It's like, you have no idea how hard that actually is.
To shoot the gun out of their hand. Yeah.
But yeah, there's, it's funny, man, because, the street code of no snitching and stuff like that. If you get a guy with a good charge and a shitload of time coming at him, everybody snitches, man. Usually. Yeah.
No, you did a lot of, UC undercover, and there's a fine line with that though, because you did say you felt bad with talking to. Well, this guy though, the one that I'm going to bring up is with the neo-Nazi, which thank you for doing that, obviously. But you still felt bad. But do you want to explain a little bit on that one? The lives are a little bit different, Keith. Like, I'm not trying to rush you or anything like that. We just tell, like, because and folks, Keith's full episode of that we already did is already up in the last video in the video section called Fighting Crime and Demons. If you missed it, definitely check that out after or whenever. But if you want to explain a little bit of that. I forgot to set up. I was actually going to set up the actual scene where that I made, but go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, he was a neo-Nazi that one of our sources found online, and they got all those chat rooms. I think this chat room was called like Tightrope or something like that, and just talking neo-Nazi racist stuff. And he had threat. Obama was the president, so he had made threats to Obama and stuff. And a lot of these guys think they call it RAHOA, the racial holy war. He really believed that the racial holy war was coming soon. So he wanted to get a fully auto AK-47. And it's crazy because you go to the U.S. Attorney's office and they start laughing. They're like, seriously, the racial holy war? You're like, this guy's messed up, man, obviously. And he could be watching The Simpsons one day and say, that was it. That was the message I've been waiting for. The racial holy war starts now. And he could just go out and, start killing people. So before he found someone else to get him the AK, we jumped online, made a profile, said we could do it. And, ended up meeting him several times. And
how did you gain his initial trust? How did he feel real? I mean, I could tell from just talking. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was out in the street and talking to someone like you, like I told the folks before, like you would, you could have walked out street lifeline, because just from talking to you, I could tell you have that attitude of, you could probably talk to criminals, you could talk to cops, you could talk to lawyers. I could tell you have that about you. So I could see you being good with UC work.
There's several ways, man. It's, you can basically just do a life, like study their life or whatever, and their patterns, and kind of cold bump into them somewhere down that way. But honestly, a lot of times it's an informant. A lot of times a source has already met this person and blah, 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 and they introduce you as someone they already trust. So we had an informant that we got into him, and he introduced me as I forgot what we told him. I said I worked for like a contracting company, like a Blackwater type thing. And then I was the armorer and did all this stuff with guns and stuff. So I was introduced by an informant he already trusted for that one.
So then the informant that he trusted, I mean, you had to get, you didn't really have to gain his trust. That was probably a situation where he got busted and he was like, instead of charges, I'll give you guys info.
I don't know how that informant actually came about, because he had been there for years, working with his handler. I don't know how they actually got him on board, but but so I met him several times, man. And, it's just building a relationship, and I just didn't anticipate, when he got arrested to actually have, I didn't know what it was, man. And, we'll talk about the addiction part, but addictions is a feelings disease, man. You don't want to feel a certain thing, so you use a substance to mask it. And it was one of those feelings I wasn't anticipating, because I got arrested and he got arrested at the same time. And I remember him just looking over at me and staring at me, and it was just I felt like a guilty feeling, and I didn't know why, because he was a bad dude. He had to go to jail. You know what I mean? But
neo-Nazi, piece of shit. But I'm just saying, though, that, you build that rapport, you're sitting there with them. And a lot of cops, though, too. I mean, you see it, though, in a lot of, I see it in the mafia underworld, like with Bolger and, or even with a guy like Greg Scarpa, Linda Scarpa, who's here, where there's actual, they almost flip the script and the cops are working for them. You know what I mean? Like that. So there's that fine line, because I could see you build, but this neo-Nazi type guy, no. I mean, you had to keep that at least that had to help you out a little bit because I mean
Yeah.
you took someone out, like as you said, and that didn't bother you as much as the baby stuff or whatever, but it still though ate you up though because just because.
And I was never I don't have in me to deceive friends, you know what I mean, or just be friends with somebody and then completely, turn on them. So it was unnatural for me, and it made me feel a certain way. I mean, in hindsight, I mean, I absolutely am happy that I did that case, and I'm happy he got arrested and went to jail. But it was just one of those things I wasn't anticipating.
And folks, the actual real footage is actually in that episode with Crime and Demons. And I'm going to actually put up, though, if Keith doesn't mind, am I allowed to use it? Because you sent me over that whole tape, like where he's there at the top. Yeah. He's talking to his, and like you give him though the gun, and he's walking away with it, and then right outside Hooters parking lot, right?
That one was actually a TGI Fridays, I think, because.
But I thought you told him get that big burger and all the FBI agents.
Yeah, that was at the TGI. Yeah, so our first 2 or 3 meets was at a different Hooters, and then
okay, gotcha.
For some reason this time it was a Fridays. I don't know why. I don't even know why we ended up there. But yeah, so it was weird because we had to actually give him a fully functional AK-47, or it wouldn't be against the law. If it was if we had made it where the gun didn't work, you couldn't charge him with it. So, we had to give him the fully automatic AK, but he hadn't loaded magazines in there. But I took all the bullets out, and I think in one of those tapes he was like, "You shot all my ammo." I was like, "Yeah, man, I just had to test it." There's no way I was going to give him a loaded AK with ammo, because he always parked in handicap parking. So the van I was driving, even though there was nobody in the parking lot, I parked 30, 40 yards away, because that just gave the team time to come in and, I didn't know what he had in his truck. So just gave the team time to come in and make the arrest. But yeah, you can use whatever you want, though.
Yeah, no, and that's also in this episode here, folks. That's the thumbnail from the video. If you haven't seen it yet, Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith Shibley, it's definitely a good one. Check it out. And so, I mean, you've seen a lot, man. You've seen stuff that, like we already said that the Academy cannot prepare you for anything like that. I think you even said they might have shown a 2-hour video, but people are just in the back shooting the shit, not really paying attention. But what's a 2-hour video gonna do? Yeah. I don't even think I know that I personally don't even think if you could have all the whatever prior talking to you about this, but you're never really going to know how you're going to feel till it actually happens.
Yes, exactly.
And you had some battles with addiction out there. And you were still working, right? While you were.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. So shortly after the Navy Yard, I had a back injury, and to avoid surgery, I was getting epidurals in my lower back. And the doctor gave me an opiate medication, man, and it was game over from the first few out. I loved it. I mean, I fell in love with it. It made me feel great.
I don't mean to laugh. I get it. I get it in the beginning. Yeah.
Slept like a baby, man. It gave me energy. I was cooking and cleaning and going to work and doing all this other stuff. And since I never did drugs growing up, or never even really experimented, I didn't even think of addiction. Wasn't even a thought in my brain. But with like a lot of other people's stories, man, those that taking of those pills got off the rails pretty quick, really quick. I remember I was going through them faster than I should, and I remember asking the doctor, am I getting addicted to these or something? He goes, "Nah, you're just getting used to them." He's like, "We just need to up your dose." So he upped my dose, man. And then I didn't know why I was like, why am I getting the flu all the time? I had no idea. When I ran out of my medicine, it was dope sickness. I had no idea what that was, to be honest with you. And finally it clicked. And I was like, I'm hooked on these. That's withdrawals from opiates. And that feeling is the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. So I remember going back to the doctor again, being like, "Hey, man, I'm getting used to these. Can we up it again?" And he was like, "Hell yeah." So he upped it again. And it got bad quick, to be honest with you.
It's like to the
Taking
point
way
where
more
you
than I
can't,
should.
yeah, you can't do nothing until you have that in you, you know?
Yeah. Sorry about the dog.
No, don't ever apologize, man, about the dog. I love dogs more than humans. So
Me too.
I just lost Maya not too long ago, but
yes.
and that's the first time I cried in years, you know. And I haven't cried even for certain humans, so I get
Yeah.
it, man. You know. So your dog can talk as much as he wants, man. It's all good here.
But yeah, so that got pretty bad. I was definitely drinking on top of him. And then, started fighting it, getting in arguments at home a lot because of that. And I had to I knew I couldn't stay doing like the FBI task. I knew I couldn't even be a cop if I continued down this road, I saw where it was ending and it wasn't going to be good because it was probably going to be like, fired, divorced, jail, maybe.
Did the wife know? Did the wife know, or were you good at hiding?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she knew.
While you were doing it, she knew.
Yeah, I don't think she knew the extent of it, but she knew I was. Yeah, they made me a different person. I thought they made me, a better person because I felt great, but
yeah,
I was very short with my. I mean, I got a short temper as it is, but it made me worse. Her, the kids. Then when I didn't have them and I was sick, it was hell at home. But I don't know why I did this. And talking to a bunch of addicts, they've done the same thing. To avoid the opiate withdrawal, I would binge drink. And binge drinking makes the opiate withdrawals worse, which but I still did it, I did it to blackout. And then when I finally kicked the pills or got on a taper to get off of the pills, my alcohol just tripled, man. I was getting drunk every night. On the weekends, I was starting when I woke up, and that's when it really got bad at home. Fights all the time. Stuff that came out of my mouth was nasty. I said some pretty vile stuff to my family. Never got physical, but the stuff that came out of my mouth was awful.
Yeah. I've been there. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So my last in 2018, I went on a trip to Beirut. I met my sister out there. She's got family, and I don't remember that whole week. I was hammered the whole time, and unbeknownst to me, she came back early and talked to my wife and basically told my wife, like, the amount of alcohol I put in my system is insane. And if they don't do something, that I was going to die. And they're probably right. I was driving when I shouldn't. And I tried to stop a million times, Loomis. I did. I knew I was in a very bad spot. And I tried to stop and I just couldn't do it, man. I'd stop for a couple of days, but I couldn't completely kick it. And it just goes back to how I was brought up, man. I remember looking in the mirror and being like, how weak and pathetic are you that you can't stop this on your own? Because before I became an addict, I would have swore to you that addiction was a choice. I would have fought that tooth and nail that, people got addicted to something because they chose to do it. And it's like, I didn't choose any of this stuff, man. I just have the bug in my head, and once that opiate hit my brain, it just flipped the switch on that I can't turn off. But yeah, so after that trip, I got home and the family did like the whole TV interdiction thing,
Yeah.
And I'm glad they did, dude, because it was just like, it was the kick in the butt I needed. But when I was trying to stop, the hardest part was I was at the FBI task force. I was doing undercover stuff. I had a top secret clearance. I answered to the chief of police. My ego was way up here, man. I was like, there's no way I'm going to call like my big bosses and tell them that I had a problem. My ego.
Fred, in those days too, you would be like, they'd almost frown upon it. Like,
I thought it was.
You were coming up. It wasn't an environment where it's like, oh, you have some mental health issues. Come sit down and talk to us. You had to suppress everything.
Yeah.
And,
it was an immediate label. It was an immediate label and pretty much a suicide killer, man. People ask me if I thought about, just taking myself out of the equation. And I definitely had those thoughts, but I knew I couldn't do it myself.
It takes a lot.
I never got to that point, but what I did do was crazy shit at work, man. I was doing people were like, man, you got balls. It wasn't balls of steel. It was that if something happened, I didn't care.
Zero
And
fucks.
yeah, at least if it happened at work, my family would get the big payout, and I would quote unquote die like the hero's death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty scary time too, because I didn't care. But my wife called me out on the carpet, and I'm glad she did. My immediate reaction was, it was half anger that my sister did that, and the other half was, it was relief, man. It was just like everybody knew it, that I had the issue for years, and nobody's really saying anything, like, other than my wife. So it was actually a relief that I had to do something, because I wasn't going to lose my family over this shit. I had to do something, and it was just kind of a relief, but I was also scared. That was a scary phone call to make, when I had to call the big bosses, and tell them that, I had an issue and I need to get some help.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so how did that go down?
So I called someone, and they were on vacation. So the first phone call didn't go well at all, to be honest with you. It went about how I was going to expect it to go. And then the second phone call, I was completely petrified to make, because I didn't know this guy that well. And he helped save my life, man. He broke it down for me, and he was like, all right, man, it's, he was like, I got your back. And he said, Keith, you've put your career here and your family here for over a decade. He goes, it's backwards, man. He goes, this is just a job. He goes, the day you leave the FBI, nobody's going to care who Keith Shibley was. You can get all the medals you want. He goes, the day you leave the PD, nobody's going to care who Keith Shibley was. And it was a reality check, man, because like I said, I had the inflated ego because of my position. I had the inflated ego because, they awarded me the highest medal you could get for the Navy Yard. And to call them and tell them that I was an addict was just absolutely horrible. But, he talked to me for about an hour, man, and was just like, you got to take care of yourself first, and it just put everything in perspective. It's a job,
Yeah.
That's all it is a freaking job.
But what surprises me is, though, the shit that you guys and ladies see on the job, like with the first guy you talked to, it's like, you would have thought that, like, I just can't believe that there was like no support for it at all. Like, I mean, that's a big step, opening it up. I mean, it takes a lot of courage, though, to open up and come out. But, I
think it was more because
that pressure, though, must have been hard on you, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. Like, just the pressure of, like, because normally I remember when I had to tell, whether it was my fiance at the time, my family at the time, or whatever, I was like scared shitless. But when I opened up about it, they were like, oh, thank you so much. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, but in your case, that's got to be tough, man.
I think it was just more that he probably got over to our police department at like 5 months before this happened. And I think it was more of I'm a brand new boss there. So it wasn't that he didn't care. It was just that his brain went immediately to boss work and I don't know, damage control, maybe. I don't know. But I also called my FBI boss, Jen May. She's in one of those pictures that you put up, and Jen is amazing, dude. Jen from jump was like, she was the one that said, thank you for raising your hand and telling me this. And she said, I'll have your job waiting for you when you get back. Just take care of yourself.
Jen was her right there, correct?
Yeah.
Miss Jen May right there. Well, thank God for people like her, man.
Yep. She's one of the rare ones, man, because a lot of these bosses are they're managers. They can manage you pretty well. They can tell you where you got to be and what work you did wrong and what you got to fix. But there's not a lot of leading by example or getting to know their people. Jen got to know all 16 of us on the squad, man. She got to know our family. She got to know what we like. Jen got to know us really well. And Jen and I are very close now. And she actually comes and does like some presentations with me to new management on, on how to deal. how to deal with someone like me, because there's a lot of us that I didn't know in law enforcement actually. And Jen's actually going to be on our friend Kevin Donaldson's show here in a couple months.
Suffered podcast.
Yeah.
Kevin's he was in the comments. I threw it up there,
okay.
and my episode with Kevin debuted on Tuesday. If you guys want to check that out, it's on the
great show.
podcast.
Yeah. But so Jen's going to be on there.
Real quick though, Keith.
Yep.
How did Duck and Point though did bring up a good point? Like how many of Keith's bosses had same problems and never seemed helped? And maybe some of your exact bosses, but other bosses out there. Just think about all the people who actually suppressed it and never got the help because of that situation. What shocks me is after everything that you guys see, I can't believe there wasn't some type of office there where you could go in and talk to a psychiatrist or
we had EAP. So we had for the police department we had EAP. Nobody's talking to those people. We had our peer support team. Back then it was 5 people's names on a wall, and most of them were the biggest gossipers in the PD. So you're not talking to those people. For the FBI, for undercover stuff, they actually made us go see a shrink twice a year. But you know what to say to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that when you're taking that questionnaire where it says, do you drink more than 2 drinks a night? No. Do you have dreams? No. Do you? I mean, you know what to say because you don't want to get taken out of that position. But usually in the past, in my experience in law enforcement, you do know the people that have problems. You know the people that have drinking problems, and you know the people that have mental health problems. And for the past, 100 years, the common practice was don't say anything, wait till they fuck up enough to fire them, and then the problem's gone. That's how they dealt with people like me for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's just because the main thing is, and what I always, try preaching, I'll say it to people is the true tough guy is the one that has the courage to open up. If you don't talk, and it is even, I remember one time, man, when I was sick, dope sick and stuff like that. And I had to have that conversation. And I remember begging my family for money and stuff. And they were like, no, just to get right, to get a Suboxone or something. They're like, no, but when you get it out, even when you're sick like that, there is still that relief that after suppressing stuff so much. And I think the reason why we yell, say vile shit to our women and families is because we're embarrassed. Mm-hmm. And when we're using that, and whether they're saying, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? It's a deflection. Yeah. And we yell, and it's all coming from embarrassment.
It is. It's definitely, I hate it. I hated everything about myself back then. Yeah. And when they would call me on that, I would go straight into defense mode, man. And I would yell. I'd start a fight about something that had no relevancy to what we were talking about, just to deflect. Just to deflect them calling out my addiction, man, because I couldn't stand to hear it from other people,
Yeah, I would do it too, just to go to my own man cave and stuff. So I didn't want him around. I didn't want anyone around. I just wanted to lay in the bed, watch stuff, and nod out, use again, nod out. It's just so vicious. I remember, I got, you're the guest here. I'm not going to make this about myself, but I got on my hand and knees and prayed for God to take me. I wanted him to take me because, like I said on Kevin's podcast, the one night I was so, because with the fentanyl, it's just a whole different ball game of sickness and hallucinations, Tourette's, like you just scream out. It was insane. It was I could see the devil. Oh, just thinking about it now, but I just couldn't though. The guns though were at the other house because I have a 380 Berger 45 MP and my 917 and a Glock. And I'm not lying. I know for a fact if I had that instant, if they were at that house that night, I would have fucking. Because I'm like I said on Kevin's, I'm the type that if I'm going to end myself, it's got to be quick. And a lot of people call people cowards who commit suicide. I think that's the ballsiest thing. And I don't like when people call people cowards. Oh, you took the coward's way out or this or that. because I mean, people are really suffering hard inside, man. They really are.
It's the same mentality with that, and like with addiction too. Like until you've ever been in that deep dark space, you can't understand it. People can't understand the inner battle in your brain with addiction of, I don't want to use this. There's, you're telling yourself, I don't want to use this. I don't want to use this. But that other side's telling you you have to. And that have to side wins all the time. It's just like this in your brain. And it's hard to describe to people that haven't been there. And I think it's the same way with like the suicide stuff, man. I mean, unless you've been in that deep, dark place, you really can't understand it. And that's why I get more therapy talking to people like you, and other addicts and other people that have been in my spot, because that you understand it. You know what I mean? Like I see a therapist, I've seen a therapist, and they do have their spots. And, I like my therapist, but a lot of times they haven't been in that exact same spot that you've been in. And I like talking to someone that can absolutely understand it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But therapy is also like the T word is you didn't say that in law enforcement, man. And my therapist right out of rehab she was amazing, dude. Well, my first therapist I saw for 3 sessions, and then she started crying and said she couldn't take my stories and quit. And then the second therapist I got, she was awesome. And I worked with her for, several years, did EMDR, all that stuff. And that really helped out a lot.
And that EMDR stuff is, I want to get a little bit into that too. But like, people think I'm nuts because I pay $300 a week to see a psychiatrist. And like, I always say to myself, listen, for peace of mind, for whatever, I would give every dollar that I have, because without the sobriety and without us, we wouldn't have nothing. You don't have nothing when you're living that life. Like if you're living that way, like, so, anyone that, and I'm more of a one-on-one.
Yeah.
As opposed to groups. Like I don't go to a lot of meetings, and I'm not knocking meetings or anything like that. But for me personally, sitting down one-on-one, Tony Soprano style with the psychiatrist, it's incredible. And I found one though that I'm very like you said, someone who understands it. I remember when I had my first therapist that I had through the state one time, she was like, well, my father was an alcoholic, so I understand it. And I'm like, yeah, I want someone with a PhD on the street to talk to me, more than someone with a PhD from fucking Harvard. And I'm not knocking them. It's just nobody understands it till, like we were talking about, nobody understands walking into the house, until the fight or flight. Nobody understands. It's almost, nobody understands until you live it and really understand it. Like my father, for instance, is like, why are you going to rehab? Like he's old school. He's like, why can't you just fucking drink your beer and smoke your fucking pot? Yeah. Like what's the like, a lot of people don't understand, but when you find that right person that you could open up to and talk to, I preach that shit all the time, man. Like, go for it, go for it.
But yeah, I do too. And, so I got caught up too with like the money that it costs. And they're like, well, how much did you spend on dope? And I'm like, oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
A 10th of that a week. You know what I mean?
That's a great analogy.
And I was doing $300 a day and I was getting it. And I was like, if I need to spend $300 a week, I can definitely manage that.
And here's the other thing too. When you're not going to get sober till you want, I believe personally, till you want to get sober. And I remember the first sponsor I had, he's like, did you go to the meeting? And I was like, nah. I'm like, the roads are slippery. Keith, if there was fucking 12 feet of fucking snow, I'd be crawling to the hood to get my dope, so you should be crawling in the snow to go get your help. Yeah. You got to reverse it that much.
Yeah. I don't go to meetings as much as for my first year, I almost went every day. It's slowed down some because of work now, but I used to go to, I still try to go to 1 or 2 a week, to be honest with you. I like them. They get me away from, it's just, Loomis, it's a place that I get away from family life and work life to a whole group of different people that just kind of understand my brain. And, the meetings are what the meetings are, but the biggest thing that's helped me in sobriety is having a sponsor, or just having someone outside of work and outside of family that I can tell whatever I want to, and I know it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I can bitch about work stuff. I can bitch about home stuff. And just having that person is probably the biggest thing that's helped me stay clean so far. But yeah,
100%, man, 100%. And it's just, that's, you know, you got to do whatever it takes. And I think the reason why people like don't do it though so much is because like, you know, that drug feeling feels like so good. So, you know, you're going to go and cop and like, and, you know, you're sick at the time. So it's like, you know, you need it just like food. Like, you know, you can't even survive without it. I remember I was running across the boulevard in my bathrobe before my niece and nephew came here on Christmas, bathrobe and slippers. I'm fucking running across the boulevard because my engine blew to one time. And just to cop just so I could actually be there. Was at this point it was just to maintain, just so I could like sit with them.
But you don't even get high anymore, so
you just
function.
Yeah, but then no, when you maintain, you'll be around there, you'll be talking, but in the back of your head, I used to be so petrified of falling asleep, man, because when you fall, if I didn't have any more drugs, knowing that like the second I fall, like that wake up, man, is so
I remember
dark.
being petrified of holidays, man. It's like, okay, you got to have enough for Christmas morning for the kids' presents. You got to have
Christmas
enough
is big. You
got to have enough for family Thanksgiving time. You've got to have. It's a fucking miserable existence, man. It really was.
No, I mean it's, and you know, I was thinking today because like yesterday something happened. No, like my old man took a hard fall and you know was busted up pretty bad. He was busted up pretty bad, and but he's tough as nails. But I didn't know he was on the ground for like an hour. I was out back. He didn't have his phone on him and stuff. And you know, I was driving to the bank today, and it just dawned on me, like I was just like, it's fucking incredible that I'm not, because there was a road on the way home where I could make a right and I could get whatever I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, this is today, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm in my like, you know, because I'm straight up and honest. I'm like, man, like, you know, one time would it be like so? And I immediately, I'm like, you selfish fuck, you blah, blah, blah. Because you don't hear a lot of people, though, sometimes like in the meetings or whatever, or not even in the meetings, just in general, ever say, like, even if they have 2, 3, 4 years clean, that they still don't think about it at times. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. You know, I think it absolutely could, you know, it comes in your mind, but you have the tools of how not to do it. And the tools for me that I use is, especially with what's going on, I put my family through hell. And now that de facto that I'm able to be here and be of service, that would be so selfish. And then I imagine what's going on with my family now. Then I have to tell them, oh, I got to go back to rehab again, or I overdose and die. I make it all about me. Yeah. And it's just so selfish. So that's something that, meaning like when I don't need it, like, I mean, I don't need it right now. Like, you know, I'm not sick, I'm not using. So going back to that would be extremely though selfish too. And,
yes, 100%. I think once you've been clean for a good portion of the time, then you do have that choice. You have the choice to pick up the first one or not. But dude, it'll be 7 years in July. I still think about it. I don't know. These people say they don't think about it. It's crazy. Like, and it's. I actually laugh at myself too because it just enters my brain, and I'm like, there you are, you son of a bitch. Like if my wife goes out of town, I think about it. I'm like, oh. Yeah. I don't have any supervision. Or, you know, I went out of town a month ago to Minneapolis and stayed in a hotel where nobody knows me. And I go downstairs to eat and there's a bar right there. I think about it. It's just, I just don't think about it 24/7. I remember when I was getting clean, I remember the first time I went like a whole hour without thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't thought about using in like an hour.
Dude, that's a fucking long time.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it is. Every day, I'll say 1 day at a time. It's 1 minute at a time, man.
A lot of times.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, man.
But as time goes on, you know, it just gets less and less and less. You just gotta kind of stick with it. But that's what I was talking about.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, after you, man.
No, after you're the guest.
That's what I try to explain to, you know, when I try to help other cops or anybody really with that have had the same problem. Because they're just like, I think about it all the time. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're going to think about it all the time. But if you just don't, you know, we do the whole hour for hour. I was like, dude, take it minute by minute if you have to. And eventually the time will start getting further and further apart that you think about using.
Yeah. No, 100%. And you just have to, for me, because we had that void. And for me, that's why, I make all these videos. Like, this is all passion. Like, I don't make money on this. I don't do whatever. It's just something I'm passionate about. So I always tell people, you find that good purpose, like find any type of purpose. It could be anything in your life, and that will help. I think we all need to find our purpose.
It is. And, I thought my whole purpose was being a cop, and it's not. I really think that I had to go through this addiction for a reason. And yeah, man, I go around and I talk to different police departments, academies, just to kind of spread the awareness that it's not a weak, strong thing. And I tell the kids in the academy, I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're going to be a cop for 6 months or 25 years. This job is going to change your life. And a lot of times it does not change your life for the better. Like, you're going to do and see things that are going to mess you up for the rest of your life. And you got to get prepared for it. Just kind of, leave the door open for like the mental health side. I've had kids that have had 2 years on. I had one kid that went to a suicide and a fatal car wreck within the same 4-day period, brand new. And he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I'm having trouble sleeping. This stuff bothers me." And I'm like, "Okay, well, we'll sit down and talk about it. Here are some resources." That was unheard of 20 years ago. So I really think getting to these younger guys right off the bat, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I've done stuff in my career. I'm not one of those cops or one of those people that hasn't really done anything. So that's why I give kind of my resume and then tell them how messed up I got, because to just try to encourage them when something does bother you to come forward. And it's becoming more of a common practice, especially after the plane crash. I
was just going to bring that up. If you wanted to tell the people about the firemen, though, if anyone jumped on here knew, obviously Keith was, one of the first on the scene in the Navy Yard shooting back in the day with the footage we showed, and then the DCE the Olympic ice skating team where the plane crash happened, with all the children and all that. I mean, you were there picking up partials and stuff like that, right? Partials for everyone, I'm sure that arms, legs.
Yeah. So
oh God,
it was probably a couple hours into it, and I wasn't physically taking the parts up. That was the fire dive team, but I was up where they were bringing them for chain of custody issues. But yeah, we're pretty close with our fire department. I've done kind of my substance abuse presentation for them as well, because they also see and do some pretty messed up things sometimes. And there was a young kid in the boat, and they're like, "Shibley, get down here." So I ran down there with them, and they're like, "We don't know what to do." And he was literally sitting there like this, like he was holding something. Obviously they had taken that away. And he was just frozen, man. Couldn't talk, couldn't move. And I was just like, get him out. If you got
he wasn't holding something though, correct?
He wasn't. I think whatever he had, they had taken it away.
But he was still just frozen like that.
Yeah. So,
but you ran over to him though to help him out.
Yeah. So we got him out of there, got him to the firehouse, and our department's done a 180 since I got out of rehab. We have a really good peer support team. We have licensed clinicians that we can call out in the middle of the night if we need to. So I called the clinician, and she was already on her way there because she heard about the crash. And I said, "Meet me at Firehouse 301," and so we were able to get him a little bit of help right away, which was really good. But
and that'd be unheard of back in the day.
It would be. So, and now we have they're called post-critical incident debriefs, where we had a couple for the plane crash or whatever, or different scenes where it's we have a clinician there, we have peer support there, everybody involved, police, fire, rescue. We kind of all sit down and debrief it, so you're at least talking. And I was like, man, nobody's going to come to these things. Loomis, a lot of people come to these things, man. And there's a lot of dudes that you wouldn't expect in those things to start tearing up and bawling sometimes. And it's just, they found it really helpful. So,
What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Now, this here is like where you're going around and speaking about this, correct?
Yeah, that was Minneapolis. I went up to talk to a police department in Minneapolis just about mental health and substance abuse. I don't, that picture back there, go back one if you can. All right, so I am the second one in with the black Miami Vice shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look right in front of my hamburger, there's.
I thought you meant a different picture, though. But the second one in with the black Levi shirt above your head.
No, the Miami Vice shirt. But right in front of my hamburger plate is a MGD. I just thought it was a funny picture.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah. I got you.
I don't think it was mine, but it was just I put that up when I talk about my childhood to kind of keep me on track. But yeah.
This is a healing foundation.
Yeah. If anybody's into donating, Frontline Healing Foundation is absolutely amazing. There's several rehabs that specialize in law enforcement and military. And what Frontline Healing Foundation does is if you've been fired or for some reason you don't have insurance, Frontline Healing Foundation will pay for your rehab. If you need to get to the rehab and need to take an airplane or need to take a flight there because it's not near you, Frontline Healing Foundation will get you there. They've pretty much gone all in with first responders and military, and it's a great organization, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me a link to that, though. A link to that where people could donate to that actual foundation, itself, though, and that's great, though. Or anyone could call. Another thing that I want to bring up, and maybe a lot of you guys out there watching haven't heard of this, but this was quite fascinating to me. EMDR, Keith. If you want to explain to the people what this is all about and the process of it, that would be great.
Yeah, so EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So how it was explained to me is that if you have a traumatic incident, your brain kind of puts that traumatic incident into a box and it puts it back in your head because it doesn't want to think about it. And you don't really process it. So, when you see a smell or you see a sight or you have a dream and something triggers that memory, the box just opens up and it floods your brain with all that, negative, oh shit, panicky feeling or whatever. So EMDR some people do it by tapping, some people do it by vibrating things in your hands or sounds. And what it does is sitting down with a clinician and basically you go over that incident in detail. You get to a nice relaxed state. When you're concentrating either on the tapping or the buzzing, you'll feel your eyes kind of moving, and it's just working both sides of your brain. So as you're going through it, it takes the box out, it opens it, and you go through it detail by detail, and your brain actually processes it, and then it puts it back in. So when you think about it or you get, some kind of trigger to that memory, it doesn't flood you with the overwhelming anxiety and stuff. You're going to remember it. It's going to still stink. I mean, it was a traumatic incident, so you're going to remember it. It doesn't erase it from your memory, but it takes it from a 10 to a 2 or 3 in my experience. And one of the first times I tried EMDR, I was like, this doesn't work. But I stayed with it, man, and after a while, it worked. It worked really well for me.
Now, on our episode that we did, for the folks out there, if you haven't seen it, check it out, Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith Shibley. You said EMDR fucking sucks, man.
It does, for the simple fact that you have to, in detail, relive that situation, basically detail by detail. But the end process is amazing.
And it brought your level from a 10 down to a 2
or 3. Yeah. I mean, it brings it to where it's still a thought and you still it still sucks, but it's not like waking up in, soaked clothes, sweating because you had a dream about it or whatever.
Now, we talked about you taking someone out in the line of duty. That was, you're doing your job. That stuff, that didn't really affect you. And that doesn't make you a sociopath or anything like that. I mean, you're doing your job. I'm sure it affects other people and stuff. Everyone's different, but I mean, just everything you see, man, like, that with I hate to say it, like the dead baby in the car and just, you're the Navy Yard shooting, walking over all these bodies. Like, I'm not trying to bring this stuff like back up like a team, but is there ever moments like where you're just even like, right, Nick, you're at the house, you're petting your dog or you're taking your dog out and like, do you ever get like little flashes of like these visions?
Oh yeah, all the time. It just doesn't overwhelm me the way it used to. I still honestly right now, and I'm actually working on it now, was like the plane crash stuff. Because what I did after that was I was looking at social media and it would have a picture of one of these ice skaters, and then I would start reading about it. So I read about what their name was, what their, how good they were at skating, their mom and dad, and this and that jacked me up, man. It put what I compartmentalized as like a work evidence thing into like a real person. And
like it's yes, exactly. Understanding them and stuff.
Yeah, that messed me up pretty good for a while. And
I see
still working through that one, but I still don't. I don't mind talking about it, but if I see like a Facebook page or Instagram page of that, it bothers me. And honestly, like when I flew to Minneapolis last month, it was awful. I mean, I was just waiting. I had such anxiety the whole time because I was just waiting for like a collision. And Loomis, I work at a fucking airport, man. I see thousands of planes take off and land safely absolutely every day for 20 years. This is one incident, but I swore my brain, and it was kind of like addiction, man. I was having a fight in my brain because I'm trying to watch my phone and I kept thinking about this and I'm telling myself like, hey, dumbass, that's like a once in a 20-year thing. And this is safer than driving a car, but my brain just kept going back and forth and back and forth. So I just did.
We're not in control. That's what fucks my head up is that, yes, it's safer than a car, but in a car, I'm in control. There's two guys up front that I don't know who are in control. So it's like the turbulence hits, I get it, man. I like to be in control.
Yeah. I literally just did EMDR last week on that, crash, because I thought I was good, but apparently I'm not. So I did a few EMDR sessions about the crash, and we'll see next time I get on the plane if it helped me out or not.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see if there's any of that around here. I want to try that. I want to just say hello to a couple people, though, in the chat. We got Brett from NYC Crime Spot. What's going on, Brett? Thanks for jumping in. I know you had a show earlier. He's got a fantastic channel and 52 topics with Frank Federlino. I got it right now, Brett. But thanks for being here. Rodney, it's been 1 year for me. I still think about it. 11 years for you. Sorry. Congratulations, buddy.
Hell yeah.
And I still think about it sometimes. Yeah, because the musician David Crosby said, like, I remember he said, once you do heroin or opiates, you're changed forever. Meaning, like, if you have that reaction like you did and like I did, like where some people don't like that shit, but like where you're like, do you love it or whatever? And you just know it's always out there. It does no change you though forever. 100%. Yeah. Big Ron, my man from Canada. Hope all is well. This guy, I got to have a little words with. Bobby. Where you been? Hey, Keith, was it very receptive at your conference? He had a question.
I think so.
Ask questions, guys.
Every time that
ladies, God.
Every time that I do a presentation, there's at least one person in there that contact me or come up to me afterwards, and that's the person I was there for. I'm sure there's people in the back like, oh, this isn't going to happen to me, blah blah blah, because that was me. That would have been me 15 20 years ago when I first started. I would have listened to myself and be like, yeah, whatever, man, you're just weak, that's not going to happen to me. But there's always at least one person usually that will come up to me, and that's the person I will sit there and talk to. I had one lady. Me and Jen do a presentation at the FBI National Academy, which is like a 12-week school for the upper echelon of police departments. I mean, I had one lady contact me afterwards that I still talk to her. She's probably got about a year now, saying that she didn't realize how bad of a drinking issue she had until she heard that stuff, man. And all the medals and ribbons and stuff they give you is great and all, but like that stuff is like that's what I'm going to remember out of my career, stuff like that. So,
Gotcha. Good. Yeah, no, gotcha. And Rafa, I'm streaming right now, my man. How you doing, buddy? Glad that you are here as well. We got Bobby in the house. We got Sherry in the house. Thank you, Sherry. Annette Woods. Thank you very much. I would think, Keith, like if one person watches, I don't care. Like or if 200 watches, I always get to all the comments. OG Ruby, thank you. Yup, per is worse than heroin. Yeah, because it's synthetic, and that sickness though is, and forget about it with fentanyl.
And it gives you the false feeling of you're allowed to have it because your doctor tells you to. So that was my thinking. I'm like, it's not bad because the doctor tells me I could have it, but yeah, it's awful.
That's how, yeah, exactly. Police, firemen, EMTs, they are thankless jobs. Totally understand. Thank you, Matt Petunis. Keith, you are one strong dude, brother. From Matt, there's Sherry right there.
Sherry, you're awesome.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Guys, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, because get this message out there. Because Keith, I remember you called me up about our episode, and fuck the views and all that. You told me like it helped 3 people. I mean, 3 people. That we know of. That's huge. Yeah. That's what it's all about. You're not going to help everyone though, but I know the cliche as long as it helps one. But that's the truth. And like what Bobby's question when you said one person came up to you, blah blah blah. That's that whole flight to Minneapolis. Is that where was that? Minneapolis?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man. I mean, that's because you're not going to be able to help them all. But you might in the future, they might look back at what you said or something like that, just because not at that moment. But it's just great to always talk about it. Tommy, what's up, Tom Flynn? You know Tom, right, Keith?
Yeah, Tom's awesome dude too, man. Tom's a great dude too.
We got a question from Sleeping Joe. Sleeping Joe, thanks for being here, my man. Keith, when you're on duty, do they do a drug test on you once a year?
Sure, they do.
I'll counter that. Do they do randoms?
Yeah. Yep, they do. And so that was like the thing when I was using, man. Even if say I doctor shopped a lot, so I had several different prescriptions or whatever. But I always had a prescription. So there wasn't much they could do. The funny part is, since I've been clean and since I've come out as being an addict, I get random all the time. Like absolutely. I think it's funny. I mean, it's all the time I get random. I know people have been there 15 years and haven't been random. I think in the 7 years I've been clean, I've probably pissed about 9 times, I think, randomly.
Okay, but now when you were using though, was there randoms going on?
Yeah.
How are you passing?
I had a prescription for it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
and with
what
about with choir practice, as you called it, you could let the folks know what was choir practice.
Yeah, so early on in policing, it was just alcohol became a very it wasn't just a weekend thing anymore, man. We would get off on a random Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you get a couple cases of beer and you sit in the police parking lot and drink.
Yeah.
And that's how we unwound from the evening. But
that was your therapy, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you get a group of 15, 20 guys on a squad. There's somebody wanting to have choir practice almost every night. Yeah. And even going to the FBI, man, I was right there in Chinatown in DC. Usually 4 or 5 times a week. Somebody wanted to hit a happy hour after work. And I did do all that stuff. The crazy part is when I became completely addicted, I stopped all that because the isolation started. I didn't want people to know how bad I was. I wouldn't go to happy hours anymore because I couldn't go. I lived like 35 miles away from the Washington office. I couldn't go to a happy hour and have 2 drinks like I used to. I mean, if I had one, it was just off to the races, man. So yeah, they were like, why don't you come out anymore? And I'd make some, excuse up about family or whatever. And I would just go home and drink in my basement, man.
listen, man, one time I relapsed, Keith, after a year because I was watching this show called Game of Thrones, right? And it was just, yeah, but I was like, I want to watch it on a perk because I haven't done it in so long. Like that's what got me to fucking relapse because I wasn't talking to anyone. And I said this on Kevin's show. I was the guy preaching to everyone this or that, but I was still using.
Yeah.
And I was like lying at time. Well, I wasn't using, I was white knuckling it, not using any of the tools that I was supposed to be. And I thought since it was out of me, and this is back 2017, that, oh, yeah, I could preach, I could talk about this or that. And then when I started using, I was collecting chips in, like, how they give you the chip at meeting?
Yeah, it's a lot.
High as a kite. And I was a fraud, a complete fraud. And I'm not afraid to admit that. And because when you really get honest and you really get off, you're going to admit that stuff.
Yeah.
And, honesty, opening up, talking to someone, Bobby from Canada there, Ron, they're old school gentlemen. And they come from, Bobby, they come from this. I don't want Ron, we didn't talk about your story, but Bobby, was gangster, through and through back in the day. And he had that same mentality, but also had his own problems too, where it's just that generation, man, that was just brought up, like you said, it's weakness if you talk.
Yeah.
And it's so hard though to talk. And I come from a neighborhood where I was told the guy who knocks the brakes off someone in the bar is the tough guy, right? But I always say the true tough guy is the one who could open up because that shit is not easy.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they're like that. It's an insecurity. You're having a conversation with someone at the bar you disagree with. The guy proves you're wrong. You can't think any better, so you just pop him in the mouth, this or that. That's not tough guy shit. That's insecurity, I believe. True tough guy shit to me is where you could open up and talk,
Going back real quick to like when you were collecting chips and using, I mean, that happens a lot. And honestly, I tell people, I was like, I don't give a shit, man. If you use and you come to a meeting, I really don't care. I said, eventually, if you just keep coming, eventually that shit will stick. And eventually, hopefully you'll get the desire to want to stop on your own. Because I'd rather you come to like a meeting or something and be using where hopefully you get something that helps you. Because if not, you're just going to be sitting at home using and nothing's going to help you there either. So, I've met several people that are like, I still smoke weed. I was like, I don't care, dude. Just come anyway and just keep coming back. And eventually, hopefully it'll stick,
Yeah.
But I mean, it stuff happens a lot. But yeah, man, I'm 5'4", man. I was fighting my whole life because people teased me. And I got knocked the F out a lot, but I would fight anybody back in the day. And I thought that was toughness, man.
Yeah.
But it was all insecurity.
No, I mean, you have balls. I mean, just from talking to you and Bobby, Keith's that type of, you would love Keith, man. Bobby's a great guy. He talks to Kevin too. And what did he say? Keith is fucking real shit. No, he is, Bobby. I always said Keith could have been a street guy. That's why he's probably so good though at the UC. If Keith was born in like one of these neighborhoods or whatever, it could have been the other way because you could talk to anyone or this or that though, whether in any type of setting. And I have that though. I could talk to I was in rehabs like with cops, firemen from New York and stuff. And like you were right, a lot of them were just going there because they got a DUI and stuff like that. This is like 20 years back and stuff. But, just they were working in the labor union guys from New York, firefighters, police officers, all that type of stuff. And listen, at the end of the day, let's get rid of the fucking what we are job title or whatever. Yeah. We're all fucking human beings. We all bleed red. This shit doesn't fucking discriminate.
Yep,
it doesn't discriminate at all. I mean, there's cocaine in the White House, from Hunter. But I'm just saying, just because you come from some rich family or just because you might have money and you're like, are you kidding me? It does not matter at all. Like people are like, I can't believe that he actually used because he's an attorney, or I can't believe it doesn't discriminate at all.
And the only, I told my daughter, I don't know, a couple months ago or whatever, we were talking about it, and I tell her, I was like that, it was a messed up gift to get, but the gift of addiction was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, man. And it's, I mean, I've got people in my life I would have never ever met if it wasn't for that. A lot of my great friends are, most of them are addicts and former felons with a bunch of years clean under their belt. But and they're like, I hate cops. I've hated cops forever. I can't believe I'm hanging out with a cop. We just laugh about it because I've got some really good friends. I've met some really good people in recovery for sure.
Yeah, man. And I know like of gangsters though that have respect though for cops like that. I talk to, what I mean? Just a different side though, a lot like, that's, they understand it's their job. That's what they don't have to do. But I just want to say what's up to Rafa here because he's clean off drugs almost 7 months.
That's
Rafa,
huge, man.
That's huge. And I know how that first year is. And please email me if you're ever hurting. Reach out, man. I'll put my email right in here right now, man. And because I know how that first year is, and 7 months, 7 days is huge. A day is huge. You know what I mean? And it's keep going, buddy, because I'm telling you, I'm coming up on 4 years, and it's there really is a beautiful. I don't mean to. I was that guy that used to go to meetings and hear people being like, "Your wildest dreams, life." When you're, I wanted to knock him out. Right, I got thrown out of a meeting once for. Like, I almost got in a fist fight in a meeting.
Yeah, I don't know what that
in a meeting. I'm in there and I'm ready to throw down. And it's he was right. Like Ben Affleck says, if you listen to what he says to Howard Stern, he's like, now I'm that asshole.
Yeah.
Who says there is like, a beautiful life. Listen, life's hard enough, man, without booze and alcohol.
Yeah.
It's hard enough. And the older I'm noticing that it gets, it's hard. It's fucking hard. Seeing your loved ones die, seeing your family going, all that type of stuff. And seeing not just family, just it's just, it gets harder the older we get. And
it's good to be, it's huge though, man. Cause like, my dad's not doing well either. And it's just, to be able to be there in the right frame of mind is awesome. But then, I feel bad thinking about all the years I wasted because I wouldn't go see them when I was using. I was like, man, I wasted so much time because it is short. And I wasted a lot of time that I could have spent with him before he got, really sick.
Now, what you just said is something that the old me would think about and go back and like use because I wouldn't be able to handle it. That's like, that's how like I used to do it. But now it's because they used to tell me, because I was never here. I was right out of high school. I moved to Florida. Then after Florida, though, I always had places like all like around. I lived out in Philadelphia for a while, but like they told me they're like they couldn't sleep for 20 years because I used to smash up cars. One time, they were driving. They saw my Jeep totaled, and I'm lucky because my one buddy Eddie Kenzakowski, who's not here now, real tough dude, and we were at a strip club, and someone sat shotgun, right? And Eddie, the type of guy, he came out and he just went boom and just smashed the window and was like in the back seat, man, of my truck, like to the passenger. And I'm like, and he hands me money. He's like, just go get a new window tomorrow at Metro or whatever. But if he didn't do that, I wouldn't be here right now. I lost my dog Midnight, not Ozzy. Ozzy just passed. This is years ago. And I was doing Ozzy shots, Ozzy Osbourne. That's what I call them shots. They're Yukon Jack, and you throw a clonopin in every one of them.
God damn.
Yeah. So I was doing them. I must have done about 21 of them. And I'm driving home. And next thing you know, it always happens close to home. I was so close to home. Next thing I know, I'm waking up to the boom, the airbag, but the engine block was coming through. And somehow I had the capacity to go boom. And if Eddie didn't smash that window earlier, I'd be gone because the engine came right through the firewall. It would have cut me right in. Oh, but then the cops are around me, and I was like this. I was like, oh, I'm a UFC fighter. Like, what am I talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Like, they had a kick out of it. They're like, dude, get in the fucking ambulance.
Yeah, that's what you taste.
Yeah. So then the next day, there was a family reunion where family came in from Ireland and stuff, and everyone's all talking. And here comes because I used to have long hair and I was a fuck up. And people, here comes Loomis. I had a cane. They had my nose stitched back together because you're able to pick up my nose, glasses, black eyes. hey, I was just a fucking disgrace, and but now with my folks, like, they weren't able to go to sleep for 20 years, that type of stuff. Yes, that sucks. And that's the one thing I regret, is the hurt that I put on them and other people that were in my life. But at the same time, at least I'm here now, because if what's going on with my pops right now, if I was out there still using, I would never be able to get clean if something after he went or whatever, because I would never be able to forgive myself.
Yep.
So now, though, that I'm able to be here of service, it's, we can't look back, Keith. Like, it's okay to look back, just don't stare and look back and learn from our mistakes. But if we stay looking back, that's what's the cliche. And listen, cliches, why are they cliches though? They're true. The rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield, or whatever that fucking saying is. It's the truth, man. And always keep moving. It's harder to hit a moving target, so.
The other one that I really think about a lot is one of the cliche ones is don't forget your last day using. Don't forget how you felt at your last day using.
Oh, you don't want to hear my last day story. Yeah, exactly. My last day, I'll tell you, is right now, and it was terrible. I actually called up the guy, and he's gang affiliated. Met him at TGI Friday parking lot, and he used to always take the money and never look at it. I had a $5 bill on the outside and like Monopoly money inside.
I know where this is going. Yep.
I handed him the money, and usually I get away with it. I take 2 steps. He goes, "What the fuck?" I just go, boom, like immediately. Ran his pockets, got back home. I'm like, yes, because I was going into rehab the next day. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely getting fucking. I come home, I'm in the bathroom. Fucking shit was fake anyway. Like, the shit was even real after doing all that. And that was kind of probably a sign of like, yeah, well, but thankfully no repercussions happened with that. I'm always armed anyway, but I'm just saying, though, that the shit that we do, man, it's mind boggling. Even like, the equipment here and like all the stuff though that I have. Like I used to, like, I'm a musician and I would just pawn everything. And like, I look at that stuff now and it's like, I want people's loved ones to know if their child out there is using, that's not the real them. It really isn't. Like, it's not them. They are in agony and they're doing what they don't want to be doing what they're doing. You don't want to be fucking running around trying to figure out, you don't want to be ripping and running on the streets. You think we want to leave? I don't want to go to Kensington and fucking in Philly and do this, like, but there's like no choice at that point. I mean, that sickness is just, Keith, even when you said before, like sometimes it'll come back in waves. I'll get the scent of it. I can start smelling that sickness. And like, when you sneeze 3 times, your eyes get watery just when it starts and you can't stop yawning. And like, you just know it's coming. Like, it's just like, yeah.
Oh God, that's awful.
It's
Sneezing.
It's terrible.
Oh, dude.
The 3 sneezes in a row. That's why
I remember
I used to talk to people. They'd be like, yeah, I'm sober and stuff. And like, talking about like when I was first trying to get clean, and I should have never sponsored anyone because I never really did the steps, but I was sponsoring this one guy and he's like, dude, haven't used in 6 months. Achoo, achoo, achoo.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, man, you don't know who you're talking to. When I worked in Philly, they would hire, like, going back to the counselors, they were hire people who weren't addicts. I was in charge of 2 houses out there in Philly, and the ladies' house, I wouldn't want to go in there because they used to make up stuff like, oh, the techs watching us are trying to make a move. So I'm like, I'm not fucking going to the woman's house. But one time they were like, hey, could you just go and check? I could tell if someone's high from across the street.
Yeah.
And out of 122 times that I said someone, because listen, I give them up because there's people inside that house that are really trying to get clean.
Yes.
If you're using,
Yeah.
I'm doing my job. But out of 122 times of me reporting, 122 urine fails. And that's the difference, because I had the experience on the street of using, and then the other techs and stuff like that, they were letting this go for a while. And like, because they didn't know. They didn't know, because the people just like, no, I'm sick, or no, I'm tired. And they believe them. But
it's like it's 6 degrees outside. You got a short sleeve shirt on. You're sweating profusely.
Yeah. Or it's 100 degrees out and you have a long sleeve on, hiding track marks. Like, come on, man. And also too, it's just that helped me though with being able to find someone though to get drugs. I remember I went into a Turkey Hill mini mart one time when I was hurting, and the workers' eyes were pinballed, wizard up, and I'm like, I go, listen, man, I get it. I know what you're doing. And he's like, well, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and I convinced him and I was right. And I was able to get stuff because I would just be able to find people that I just knew were high. And it's not something I'm proud of. It's just going back to that therapy. When you're talking to someone, you kind of want to talk to someone who did live that life and understands it. I want someone with a PhD on the street of using more than talking to someone with a PhD in Harvard who never used. Counselor wise, meaning therapy, folks, psychiatry. And we were talking earlier, I had to pay $300 a week to my psychiatrist. And people see people say to me, dude, that's fucking crazy, blah, blah, blah. You know what I was paying for fucking dope? Like you said, you know what I was doing for dope? Or I can't go to the psychiatrist because the roads are slippery. Well, did you still go cop your dope and the fucking roads are slippery? Yeah. So that's like, as much as you needed that drug, that's how you got to be if you really want to get clean.
Yeah,
like
there was nothing that would keep me away from getting that. If that phone rang, there was nothing. That
COVID didn't. I was still running like on the line right in the beginning of lockdowns. I was still, I was gone. Here's how stupid I was. So the fiance's in the house. We had it was a ranch, right? We had a basement, but it was a ranch. I would go, and the attic was like in this thing. I'd be on the first floor. I would like she knew every time. I'd go up in the attic and jump off the roof. Like, what am I doing? Like, and he'd go, and she hears the car start. Like, why don't you just go out the fucking door? But like, it was just the shit that we do, man. Is fucking it boggles my mind that I did some of the stuff though that I did when you look back. Like, it's really mind boggling because I can't put myself there now with a clean frame of mind. Like, I can't.
I mean, the other thing is, one other thing that was kind of, I didn't know how I was going to manage it. Was I've had 2 spinal surgeries since being clean. And that petrified me too, man, because the first one wasn't, and I'm open with all my doctors, man. The first one wasn't bad. The second one was during COVID, and I had my neck fused, and I woke up, and the first time I think he might have given me 5 Percocets, 5 milligram Percocets to take home, and I was like, what are these? These aren't going to do shit anyway. But I woke up the second time in the hospital and immediately knew I was high. And it was just, I was like, oh my, I felt that feeling. And it actually scared me, man. But for those people out there that might need surgery one day, it's still doable. I mean, you just got to do it responsibly. He gave me some to take home. I think it was Dilaudid, actually. He gave me some to take home. And I just gave them to the wife, man. And the wife would count them. And when it was time to have one, she'd give it to me. And then she'd count them. And then it was just doing it responsibly, so I didn't. It's actually a funny story, but it's stupid. So after my neck surgery, the 3rd day, I remember it was time for me to have a pill, but I didn't need one because I wasn't in pain. And I was like, "Oh, I can have one, but she doesn't know I'm not in pain. But if I tell her it's not to have one, I still get one." And Loomis, that scared the shit out of me, man. So what I did was, this was stupid. I told her, I was like, I told her what I was thinking, and I was like, "Flush that shit." And she goes, "Are you sure?" I go, "Yes, flush that shit." And she flushed it. And then about an hour later, I was in extreme pain.
Extreme pain. Yeah.
I was like, I can just imagine calling a doctor now being like, "You're never going to believe this." And it's just like, but honestly, it sucked for a little while, man. I sucked down Advil and Tylenol and, I got through it. But yeah, it's just,
listen, man, that scares me too. And I don't like to look ahead. I like to stay present, and I'm in the present these days. And my father's sickness helped me with that because I don't want to think ahead. It just naturally now I stay in the present. But surgeries, or if I get banged up and stuff, because the last surgery I had 3 and 5 days and almost lost on my leg, as you know, from and that was from that night when I did that, and it was fake. But I thought, hey, maybe it could be real, and I just went boom right in my thigh. 5 days later, legs blown up, and I'm getting fucking, what do you call it, immediately an ambulance up to the other hospital because I showed up at Geisinger South and they took me up to Geisinger North, and 3 surgeries in 5 days during COVID. It was fucking terrible. And I'm like, I didn't know. I thought I was going in for antibiotics, and I wake up. I get immediately put in the ambulance, and they're like, "What's going on?" They're like, "You might go septic," and I'm because I came in too late, and then I get to the hospital. I wake up from the first surgery, and I'm in agony, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I'm like, "Let me see." I start fucking peeling it down, and you should see the scar on my thigh, dude. It's like this,
Damn, dude.
but I open it up, and there's a huge hole in my leg, and you get that dead bodies. I mean that
yeah.
smell of oh, it was like battery. It was just, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden, 5 white coats walk in, doctors, and I'm like, this is serious. And they're like, listen, man, we're gonna do it again and try to get it out more. We can't promise anything. I'm like, what do you mean you can't promise anything? You're like, and this is up by the thigh, not the bottom part of my leg. I mean, I would have lost the whole thing. And after that surgery, nope. Then finally, after the 3rd surgery, they said, well, what happened was they had a bunch of gauze in there, and they wanted to come to my house and keep taking that gauze out every other day. Like a nurse would come and put it in. So one nurse comes into the hospital. She starts like taking the gauze out. I fucking broke the headboard. It was like such agonizing pain because the girl I was with at the time called them and said, don't give him anything at all, though, for pain. He's an addict.
Yeah.
Literally the second I woke up from surgery, they're like, we talked to your girl. You're an addict. You're not getting nothing. I'm like, she's fucking dead. I was like, but I mean, I was in agony. And then I actually told them, can't you numb it with a numbing agent?
Yeah, blocker or something.
Yeah, but they did that the last time, and that's what helped so much. So instead of doing the gauze thing, I had them. They're like, "You're gonna have a huge scar there." I'm like, "I don't care. Stitch it up." And they stitched it up, and thank God. But just the shit though that we do is just unbelievable. Yeah. Dominic Calandra. Now, don't get me wrong. The majority of my finances comes from the legal marijuana concentrate trade, but there's a time and place for everything. Well, don't get me wrong, and a lot of people are going to disagree with this. And that's fine. You could. But I know a lot of people, though, that were complete junkies out of their mind where marijuana helped them. I don't really consider the medical marijuana as anything real bad or anything, though, like that. I don't smoke. It makes me like paranoid and like overthink now at these times. But I'm just saying, Dom, I don't judge marijuana. Nope. I really don't.
I honestly think marijuana is 10 times safer than alcohol, man.
Really 10 times, 100,000 times safer than alcohol.
I know a guy, one of my good friends is a Iraq war veteran. He's an NYPD guy. He got hurt and had to retire due to that injury. He was on, I don't know how many different meds, man. And he's off all of them now. And he smokes a little weed at night. And
yeah,
that's all he needs, man. Falls asleep, says it helps.
Yeah. Yeah, Dominic, there's nothing wrong with it. You're actually doing good. Like, that's a service to people that need that because some people just have no other options. So, there's no judgment here on that. And I always say that, like, I don't look at that as like, I look at that as like, that's like a God's like type drug, like in a way.
I've told several people like it that I've met at meetings. They're like, I stopped doing fentanyl, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, dude, look, if smoking weed is all you're doing every day, just keep doing what I'd rather you smoke weed than do fucking fentanyl, man. You know what I mean?
As long as you're not just smoking weed and playing video games all day and fucking, at least it's still being productive and all that. Yeah. It's almost like, whatever you're doing, as long as it's not affecting like your personal life. And, but I can't get mad at someone, man, for smoking weed compared to,
I'll tell you, the only reasons I haven't smoked weed the past 23 years is because I've been in law enforcement. I mean, and we just can't do that shit.
Plus, you didn't like it though. Remember, you said though you did it though, like you're kind of a rusty girl back in the day, and you just, it's not for everyone. But all I'm saying is that the legal marijuana, and you need to get it legally out there, folks, because people are putting fentanyl in it.
Yes.
Even if you get prescription drugs, don't get them on the street. You got to get them through your doctor and see them come out of the pharmacy because people are pressing them and putting fentanyl in them. I know people who died that way. And I just don't understand that, Keith.
I don't either.
What is going on with fentanyl? Why are they making something that is killing all of the clientele? I don't understand that.
I don't know, Loomis. I mean, it's not like heroin wasn't addictive enough for them or something. You know what I mean? But I am very lucky.
Wait, what'd you just say?
I said like heroin wasn't addictive enough for me.
Oh, I thought you said it wasn't like heroin, not addictive, but it's very addicting.
I was being sarcastic.
No, I got you.
But I'm very lucky that I got clean right at the beginning of fentanyl, because I mean, I could have easily gotten a perk 30 off the street that wasn't a perk 30, you know.
But and also though, I'm sure though with financial reasons, after you have to buy so many pills after so long, this happened to one of my best friends, and this happened to me too. It's like, oh, I could pay $5 for a bag of this and sniff it and be fine, and fucking, for instead of paying so much for those, with oxys back when you were actually able to crush them up. Well, never mind. I'm not even going to say the other thing. I'm an idiot, but I just always know how to bypass certain shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just I don't understand it. It's like, do they want to kill us? Is the government involved, letting that shit come over from China or wherever it's coming from? I don't understand it, why they do that, why they're putting it in cocaine. Omar from The Wire, Michael K. Williams, one of my favorite actors. Yep. He's out with a couple of his comedians, and he played Chalky White in Boardwalk.
Yeah, I met him. Yeah, he's good dude. He was friends with one of my buddies that lives in Florida.
Oh, I love that guy, man. And when I heard that he died, man, and it was he's out with he's out with his buddies. They're out drinking. He had like I think there were two comedians that were like up and coming, and they went home and back to the apartment to sniff a couple lines and have some drinks, And I don't even judge that, if that's like, if people do that on a weekend and they could still do like that. I don't judge that. But my point being is, they did their lines, boom, just dead. Like, you don't know what you're getting. So just on the street. And me, I'm lucky. I don't understand, because I lost everyone, man. My right here, Screwface. That's what this shirt is. Matt Flannery and my best friend Dave Flannery, his older brother. 3 of the Flannerys are gone. It's just terrible. But Jimmy, though, passed from a heart attack. But still, like, they were like my second family. And it's that's when I got clean, and in 2021 I jumped towards like the fentanyl, which is like weird. Like, I don't, and it's like, these people had children, families. I don't have any kids. Like, why am I, like, I question that all the time. Why am I spared? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't even like reproduce like what you're supposed to do or any of that shit. So why am I left here and they're gone? Like, I do fight with that a lot in my mind. Survivor's guilt.
I mean, it's I did that a lot too. Like, but you eventually you'll eventually answer the why. I mean, it's probably so you can do what you're doing now, man. Spread the message, take care of your dad. You know what I mean? So
exactly. And that's what I do. And that's all I can do. And that's maybe why I'm spared or whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know, because I'm starting to believe, I've been having some spiritual shit going on, and I'm starting to I know now for a fact, God is real.
Yeah, 100%. And I lost.
I don't even question it. I just know from something that happened with me, and I know evil is real. I know the devil is real. I know, and Dave Mustaine said it best on the Sean Ryan show. He said, when you seek the evil, they love to come right in immediately. When you seek God, it can take time and stuff, but when you're inviting the evil forces, they'll come in immediately. He was talking about witchcraft and all that type of shit on the Sean Ryan show. It was a great episode. It just aired. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. And but he's right. And the thing is that if there's evil, which I always knew that there 100% was evil, then there's got to be light. And when something that happened to me, it was almost like it was better than like a dope rush. Like, when you shoot up and like you have this rush. I remember this while I was reading this book called Memoirs of a Suicide, and they were talking about what happens after the afterlife. It was someone like who blew their brains out, and but like when he like went away, like it was exactly what I thought in my mind happens. And the second that I made that connection, Keith, I swear to God, like I thought I was in my kitchen, like floating in the air, and like it was God. Like in my body, like it was just the spiritual like awakening of it was just unbelievable. Now I don't know everything exactly about what heaven looks like, what all that all that stuff happens, because then I'm always like, well, our bodies are burnt and are and buried. So is it like, hey, Keith, what's up, brother, up there, because our bodies are gone, or so that part, I question, and I had the hardest part, like with the resurrection and stuff. But everything else, though, man, like when you get all those disciples, though, no one dies for a lie. And if you know about though that and how they were, and I'm not trying to make this all religious and all whatever, but I'm just
no, man, I'm down with that. So two spiritual things. The first one was I grew up very Catholic, like Catholic school all the way through 12th grade.
My mother was going to be a nun before she met my old man. And the hidden joke was that the old man must have been packing nice,
I lost all spirituality for a long time.
Yeah.
Just seeing this, I'm like, there's no way there's anything up there because I see this and I see this, and so I kind of lost it. So when I was in Beirut,
free will.
When I was in Beirut right before I got clean, I don't know if I've told you this or not, but my middle name is Charbel. Saint Charbel was the first patron Catholic saint of Lebanon in the 1400s, something like that. And he was shunned up to the mountains where he became a hermit. Where he lived up there is now like a really big holy spot. And they say, like, if you go truly ask him for something, he will, he'll help you out. So the second to last day I was in Beirut, my sister drugged me up there. I didn't want to go. I was hungover as shit. And I remember cussing. I went up there and I went to his Shrek, cussed at him. I'm like, if you're fucking real, I was like, I want to stop feeling like this, like right now. And what I meant was I wanted him to just wave his hand and make me all better. But it's crazy because 2 days later when I'm back home is when my family confronts me. And it happened to be on the St. Charbel feast day. And then I was in rehab. So looking back on it, I'm like, he did grant me what I want. He didn't grant it the way I wanted to.
Because we want that immediate instant gratification.
Yep. But it
doesn't work though that way.
And then I'm kind of thinking about it. And the first summer I was clean, we were at the beach, and my uncle, who's my godfather, big partier drinker, he's sitting in a chair and he kind of falls back and you hear like the death gurgle. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
And we did CPR on him. He was an atheist. We did CPR on him. He wakes up before the ambulance gets there, and he's like, he didn't tell me this that day, but a couple weeks later, I'm talking to him. He said, Keith, he goes, I didn't want to wake up. He said, I was in the most peaceful place I have ever been, and I did not want to wake up. And he said he had a previous wife that had passed away, my grandfather and my grandmother. And he described like kind of what he's like, I did not want to wake up. I wanted to go with it. I'm like, damn. So there's just a couple things, things.
Kagan from Guns N' Roses, when he almost died, and he got cut open on a butt. On a boat blade one time. It was losing all this blood and almost dying. He said it's very, very peaceful, and that's why he's not afraid of death. Yeah, because he says like he saw death and like the other side. And just real quick on the fentanyl thing, population control, depopulation, that could be though, absolutely. And to the demons things, that's why demons attach to you. They hate your light. Exactly. And we're energy. And you know what? That's the thing. It's like when I walk into a room, I'm very empathic. I can feel energy. Energy is real, man. It is absolutely 100% like real. Like there's something inside of us, like, whether it's souls, all that type of stuff. I'm probably like on, like, if you wanted to do a percentile on, I'm up at like 8 in the 80 percentile of the, like, not in belief. I know there's God. I know that. But with just some of the stuff, because I was born, my mother's 100% Irish Catholic. And, I went to Catholic school. I was confirmed, baptized, all that type of stuff. And then I went to public school after that. But I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Mm-hmm. And too many have happened. And when you get off the drugs, you could see signs, man. Like you could I just don't believe in coincidences. No. I really don't. And that's not a coincidence that landed on that same day as your saint.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Yeah. And I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that until like a couple weeks ago. My sister called me and she goes, because I guess she heard one of the presentations I did, and she was like, "Did I ever tell you that was St. Charbel feast day?" I was like, "That's crazy, man." But yeah, man, it's back to the energy thing. It's so like in police work, they call it the spidey sense. When you go into a situation and you just know something is off, but it's all energy, man. You just feel the energy in the room, and you kind of, you know that either something bad's about to happen or something bad happened, or you get the warm and fuzzies where you're good to go. But yeah, you definitely get that feeling. But real quick about the fentanyl population control, that stuff gets me fired up, man, because I've done a lot of research on that, the psychedelic treatment for drug addicts and PTSD stuff, and how well it's worked on so many people, and how we will not bring it to the U.S. But dude, that fentanyl, the reason I really think that it's still kind of coming through here is how much money do the doctors make? How much money do the therapists make? How much money do the rehabs make? I mean, you had these clinics in Florida that were paying people to relapse.
Yeah,
they could go get, so they could build their insurance again. This guy's like, "Hey man, I'll give you $1,000 if you go relapse and come back to this specific rehab."
It's called patient brokering.
It's bullshit. It fucking makes me so mad, man.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt in my mind that if they were to allow one of those, like, and they say the psychedelic treatments aren't a awesome high for people. I hear it's an awful experience for a lot of people, but people that have used for years and years and years, after that, they've never picked up a cigarette again. They've never had a drink again. It's changed their PTSD in their brain. And why they wouldn't at least try to bring some of that stuff up here is all because it's all money, man. It's all insurance companies and doctors and all that shit.
Exactly. And I worked in 2 rehabs though that closed down because of that. And it was a friend of mine, and he's dead now. And I'm not going to bring up his name or nothing because the feds found out, but they were bringing people in up the street, but he thought he found a loophole. And I thought he was just doing this for me. He's like, "Listen, come on up." He goes, I'm like, "Listen, I don't have any money or this or that." Or he's like, "Well, your family does," and blah, blah, blah. And like, if they want you to get clean, and he's like, "I'll let you come." And this was like, we had like our own, like we lived on this. Well, actually, the guy got whacked in that. It's in Hatfield, PA. You could look it up in the paper. But we stayed in this house. It even had the Batman thing where you moved the freaking bookcase, and that's where his gun closet was. That's where the mob tied him up and killed him. But with tennis court, it was so beautiful, this and that. But what happened was, me and my pops go there. We sit down. My buddy, who's not here anymore, one of his workers comes up, sits down. He goes to my father. He's like, "Do you have $1,200 in your bank account?" My dad's like, "Yeah, why?" And then he hands my pops $1,200, and he goes, "We're gonna suck it out of your bank account. Here's $1,200 cash." I thought they were just doing that for me because it was a friend of mine, but he was doing that though, like with everyone, like people who didn't have insurance, and they thought that they found a loophole, like, "Hey, well, because it costs $600 a month for this insurance," which is incredible, but they got nailed, man, and it was bad. And then I was actually in treatment at that time. But the Center City Recovery in Philly, what they were doing was, I get there and we had to go and get food stamps. And I'm like, all right, this is fucking weird, but whatever. I got a scholarship there because it was like another fancy type place, and I ended up working for them. But what the marketers were doing was they were like telling everyone, we come with us, we buy your cigarettes, we do this and that. So right there, you're not allowed to do that. The insurance already took care of the food and everything like that. So they were doing welfare fraud, all of that. And then I'm working there, and I'm in the van, and I'm bringing all the clients because we had a house in Philly on what the hell was it called? Fairmount. And I take them to Center City. The feds are there. The fucking tape's up. Our director's gone. She's not even around or anything like that. And yeah, they were doing that shit. Then I worked for American, what the hell is it called? American Recovery. It's the biggest rehab thing in the world. There's like 8 places. I was the marketer in Luzerne County around here. And I was making a lot of money. Like my salary was nice, right? And I remember in the morning making $15 an hour in Philly. That's like why I always say money's shit for happiness, because someone would call and I'd be like, hey, because this place only took insurance. And I'd be like, hey, do you have insurance? They'd say no. I'd be like, okay, well, I want you to call Wyoming Valley Drug and Alcohol, and the state could get you in to a place. They called me up because they found out and all that. And like they tongue lashed me like, you don't ever do that, ever. You make them try to figure out to make payments. I was like, you motherfucking fucks. Listen, I'm not selling cars here. These are fucking human beings.
Yeah.
And I just morally, I have integrity, man. And I'm not going to fucking just do whatever for money especially with human beings. I'll fucking say some shit to sell a car, but human beings, come on, man. And that patient broker and shit, man, that was huge in Florida. That was, there were some cases around here, like in Philly, like I just told you it happened, but exactly. It's bad, man. But besides the patient broker and what you just said, all those rehabs, insurance companies, all that, like the money though that they would lose if there's not certain drugs out there. And I think heroin went away, like maybe because because a lot of it was coming over though too, like from Afghan and stuff like that. So that's why it's like fentanyl now, and because you can't use that resource. But I don't think that the government wants people to be like completely sober. They're going to lose so much money.
It's too much money.
I think there's cures for cancer too, but they're not going to ever do that because the healthcare industry is a fucking piece of fucking shit.
You can't tell me. And what proves my point is back in 1993, 94, when AIDS was big, people were dying left and right of AIDS. Magic Johnson gets AIDS. Magic Johnson goes to Europe and comes back completely fucking fine. How's that possible? How's that possible?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Now though they have the cure though, like Charlie Sheen, like he got it years later, and now like even if me and you got it, there's cures for it and stuff like that now. But with cancer, you're going to tell me after all the research, look at our technology now. Look at everything that the technology that we get, guys and ladies, all the technology that we see. There's stuff so much more advanced that we haven't seen yet. And you're going to tell me that they can't cure cancer? It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. And they'll never, because they want that chemo treatment because it's a moneymaker. It's a money. It makes me sad, obviously, because now it hit home with me with the cancer. Like you don't really realize. Like I always hated it, but when it hits you and your family, I fucking despise it, man, because I know for a fact that there's other ways. And Mel Gibson made some great points on Joe Rogan's podcast where he's like, I had fucking 3 friends who had stage 4 cancer. Now they have nothing. And he's talking about methylene blue and all this other stuff though that they took and stuff like that. And now they're fine. And going back though to what you were talking with the psychedelic stuff, there's something called ibogaine. And and I had a buddy who there was no way this guy was ever getting sober or finding God. Like it was just one of them. Like he was in like over 100 rehabs, this or that. He went out there. He never even went to a meeting after. He's been clean over 10 years now after doing that ibogaine. I was just like, oh, he's like, it's petrifying. Like you said, it's not the bad, ayahuasca. I done that and this and that. I done it on the street and was watching UFC. You know what I mean? You're supposed to go in the woods and do ceremonies, but we had a jar of that shit for a while. But that ibogaine, no man, like I think it's out in Mexico. You got to go and you pay for that.
It's a treat, and I looked in, man. The treatment's like $8 to $10 grand. I'm like, who's got that? Yeah,
I know, but at the same time, that's a lot. But if I knew about that back in my day when I was doing, because I didn't know, I would have, I don't know, I would have fucking talked to someone or done whatever though, because I'm good like that. If I really need to get money up, I could. And like I said, with the psychiatrist paying $300 a week, I pay. It's worth it.
I'm still thinking about it, man. Honestly, like I retire in 4 years, hopefully, at least from the PD. I'll still have to work, but definitely not gonna be a cop anymore. But just with the anger, I get angry very quickly still, and apparently it helped. And then just like the PTSD side, I mean, even the addiction side, I haven't used in 7 years, but it's still there. Like it's still As we talked about earlier, I still think about it.
Always.
If I can go down there and that can make that even less or get rid of it and help me become more of a not angry person sometimes, I'll fucking do it, man. Yeah.
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 But I'm the same way. You have that short temper too.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
It's better. It's getting better. It's definitely not like when I was using, but I'm not a very fun person to ride with in DC traffic.
Yeah.
But it's just so I can still fly off the handle. I mean, you wake up tired and grumpy, have a bad day, I can still fly off the handle pretty quickly sometimes.
That's why everyone, when I go into like a store or whatever, you don't know if they're on, if someone, people just fuck with people. I don't like, you don't know if that person's on their last nerve, man. Like, that's why I'm always like, hello, how you doing? And it's not out of fear. It's just out of like, kindness. But at the same time, like, you don't know if they're on their last fucking string. You don't know what's going through anyone's mind. And a lot of people though are out there though that are like that. So I just always am like, yes, hello, hold the door, stuff like that. And because there'll be people in lines being like, come on, hurry up. And, you don't know if that motherfucker's just going to turn around and, and especially these days, you got to be careful. But they have a cure for cancer. Oh, 100%, Suze. 100%. Wait, what's this? Sour sop, 5 times stronger than radiation. I got to look into that. But it's not though something though that is that the doctors don't bring up because we went to Stone Kettering, not Stone Kettering. What's the one in Philly? I think it is Sloan Kettering. Like we got my pops into the best cancer treatment in the world, and they didn't bring any of that up. It was just like, hey, listen, it's spread too much, it's incurable, and but the most we could do is keep them leveled, and that's what they're doing. But they never don't bring up though that treatment. So, and the reason why I guess they're not going to bring up that treatment is because I just fucking hate how the world. Everything's about money. People stuck. That I just watched that. I love that Sean Ryan guy. You know who Sean Ryan is?
But yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
If you watch that interview with Tucker Carlson, man, that guy is so down to earth, and he's saying like, I just hate how everyone's stepping over everyone to like, just to get there, to try to move up and this, and that's something that I don't do. And I had a friend who only preached integrity, and he has none of it. It was all fucking front, but at all, and I call him out on it all the time, Mr. Integrity. But he ran for the money after I helped him out though. On shows.
There's a lot of fucked up people like that, man, and it drives me nuts. Like, I just try to surround myself with good people that, kind of help lift you up. And I like a lot of people, when they see like their friends succeeding, they get jealous of it. And then, so they try to sabotage it somehow. And it doesn't make sense to me, man. I don't get it. I love when my friends, soar way above where the hell I'm going. I don't understand why some people do. I've never been like when I grew up, we weren't poor, but we weren't loaded. But like I've never been into expensive cars and that kind of stuff. It's just
listen, I was making a lot of money for that, and I was miserable. I had a nice place. I was living in a beautiful neighborhood up in the mountains, and it was that. But I was miserable because it wasn't for me. Like I was missing making $15 an hour. So it proved right there that money rents happiness, doesn't buy it. You got to have like your inner self right. And people are like, when you hear people like, why did Robin Williams kill himself? He had so much money and this or that, or blah, 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 blah. Shit don't matter.
No, I know a lot of rich, miserable people.
Yeah. So do I. And it's like, it's, if that's your way of thinking that you're going to find happiness, then good luck. I'd rather live a life of integrity, and I would never stop. Like someone came on here one time and they're like, I'm going to make it my life mission to get the Buffalinos to stop talking to you. And Joe Buffalino was even like, good luck, buddy. But like that's what I mean. Like people get jealous.
Jealousy.
They get jealous. And it's just weird. Listen, even when I was dope sick, I remember if I was scrolling and I saw a buddy of mine just buy a house on Facebook or whatever with his family, I would still love it. Even in that state of mind, I would still be like, congratulations, man, this and that. I don't know where that stuff comes from. I can't.
I've had a lot of since I've been doing these presentations and stuff, and a couple podcasts here and there the past couple of years, man. Yeah, you just see people are like, oh, you're doing this for the wrong reasons. I can't believe you're trying to financially gain from. I'm like, I haven't gotten a dime off this shit, dude. Like, I'm doing it because it helps other people, and it continue. Every time I help somebody else, it helps me too. You know what I mean? But every time you start doing something good, you're going to get haters, man. It's just the way it is.
Well, that means though that you're actually doing something right though. Once you start getting haters though, and it's jealousy. They try to find one little thing wrong with you and this or that, and especially though, like with me with that project and how close I am with that family, people don't like that. They're mad. They're jealous about it. I see messages on the page because I run the page that are like, you should be talking to me instead, blah, 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 this or that. And it's like, dude, like what, like you don't know.
I can't wait for that project, man. I can't.
Yeah. They don't know who they're dealing with. Like these people are the most loyal people in the world. And I am extremely loyal. And I'd walk off a cliff for fucking Joe Buffalino. And it's just the jealousy factor of people. It's like, I don't get it. Like everyone else, like Brett on NYC Crime Spot has a fantastic channel, has, a lot of numbers, this or that.
Check that out.
Yeah, and 52 topics with Frank Federlino. My point being, though, is I root for that. I'm like, nice, man. My buddy Wade from Crime and Entertainment, whenever I see him killing it, I'm like, I'm in competition with nobody.
Nope.
Right now, we're on for over 2 hours, 2 hours, 16 minutes.
Damn.
I'm not making money right now.
Yeah.
I like to do this. Yeah, see, man, with me and Utah, Keith, the time just flies, and I love it. But I do this because it's passion. It's just I'm just passionate about doing this. And like you saw, like with your episode, with Kevin's episode, I don't have a production. I don't have a team. I do all of that on my own and this and that. And I'm not making a cent. It's just because it's purpose. I need that. I need something to fill that up, of that void of when I use it and stuff. And if money comes from projects and stuff like that, okay, that's fine. That's great. But I told Kevin this. I said, if someone came up to me right now and said, Loomis, the Buffalino project that you have, that you're doing, your vision of what you have exactly, I will hand it to you right now. Or you could take $2.5 million. I'm taking the fucking the Buffalino thing and then putting it out there. Like that's, and I mean that sincerely on my family.
I believe
that's where I come from. I don't need to be, I need to make money. I need to do this. I don't even put fucking links up. I tell everyone who watches this show, don't worry about donating. If you want to subscribe to the channel, just hit the like button and subscribe. That's enough. You know what I mean? Just people in right now in the chat, they've been here for over 2 hours. That means the world to me. Yeah. Like that other people are out there actually watching us right now for over 2 hours. And thank you, everyone. Like that is what gives me happiness and this and that. Not donations, not money, not this or that. It's, someone's given their time to watch me and you. Like that's fucking, that hits me, man. That makes me feel.
It
know what I'm saying? Like they could be doing anything in all of you's watching right now could be doing anything else out there, but you're giving your time watching us right now. And that just, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps. Like that's incredible.
Yep. And hopefully, at least one of those people hears something that benefits them and makes their life a little more easier, or at least maybe gives them encouragement to either seek help or get through that. Everybody has trauma, man, in one form or another. So, but yeah, it's something you can't put a price on. I had a guy. Yeah, I had a guy tell me that he called me at 2 a.m. I never expected it, and it was right after COVID, and he was where I was, man. He was a shell of himself, crying and shit. And this guy was a Marine sniper and combat veteran, big dude. And he told me on the way to rehab, he told me that if I wasn't open about my addiction, that he would have definitely, killed himself. And you can't put a price on that shit, Loomis, man. That's why I do it. I don't need a paycheck to do it. Like, that's it, dude. Like that's the golden trophy right there. And just helping somebody. Yeah.
I'd rather listen. We don't take money with us afterwards. We borrow money. Everything that we own, our cars, our homes, we're just borrowing them. Someone else is going to have them when we're gone. All that type of stuff. I rather go live with integrity. I rather try to put out those stuff that's honest, that's real, and that's not out there for the money or anything though like that. And if money comes from projects and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit of a bonus. But my point being is that is not why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
At all. I'm passionate about all the lies and the bullshit with the project from other books and this author who's just a piece of garbage who doesn't know what he's talking about. It's therapeutic, like for me, that I get to help out though this family and really expose the truth, and that's all I want to do is make something beautiful, and that's what we're doing. And
that's pretty good, man. I can't wait to see that shit.
Oh yeah, like we're almost right there too, and it's it's gonna be just stay tuned, folks. Like I was showing Keith earlier, I mean, with all the letters from Frank Sheeran to Angelo to all the way down to this right here, you'll never find the only Italian American civil rights, like you can't see with the green screen, record song by Tony Darrow, and just like all of the original paperwork though this was Russ's. This was what paperwork used to look like on wax paper from his deportation trial. It's like we have the truth already written out. We don't even need interviews really, but we do have interviews for the documentary. But it's just, I'm not in this though for money whatsoever. I even told Joe, I'm like, Joe, whatever comes in, I'm just throwing it all to you. He's like, I'm giving you. Are you kidding me? I'm like, I don't care, man. I'm just honored that you want me to do this. You know what I mean? And I take a bullet for that, man. And that's just the truth, man. Like, I'm passionate about it. It's passion. It's not money. I've been doing this YouTube stuff for 3 years. I don't make nothing. I don't make anything. You know what I mean? I just love doing it. But let's go to some 70s and 80s people were raised different. Well, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't even imagine like being raised now with all the kids, like they don't even have the communication skills on the street really. Cause like, they're always on their phones constantly. It's like, my alleyway back in the day, there'd be 50 kids out there, We used to meet our friends in fist fights. Someone comes in from another neighborhood, but we'd fist fight them and then we respect each other. And yeah, like that shit's done. All the baseball diamond that we used to play on all the time. There's grass growing over the dirt. There's no more little league. There's no more like, we used to be, every door on the street used to be able to be unlocked. I'm talking open, which even the screen door, and you could sleep at night.
Well, the other thing is, you never heard all the race stuff that's going on in the country now. You didn't hear that shit in the 80s. No, growing up back then, you didn't give a shit what color or race anybody was back then. No. It's all just media spinning everybody up. It's crazy.
That's what they do. The media they try to stir everyone up and get everyone going and this and that. And speaking on race, like, one of my best friends in the whole world is black. I don't look at that shit. I always say you're either an asshole or you're not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're yellow. I don't care if you're purple, whatever. But you know what I mean? You're either an asshole or you're not. My neighbors here are from Brazil and speak Portuguese and stuff like that. And we have to do the Google Translate, but I love them. Like we have a great, I love different cultures. Like I'm the guy that I want to learn about the culture.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Why am I going to be a racial like that neo-Nazi that you took out? Good for you because that shit's just American History X, man. It's a great movie.
It's amazing. That's a hard movie to watch, but it's a good movie, man.
It's a hard movie to watch, but how he was, and then when he's folding the sheets though with the black guy, and like how he just realized like this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
But the media always, that's the machine that's keeping us divided, and always, and I don't understand it. It's like that's the biggest weapon is media, and it makes me sick. It really does. It really does. And now you can't even trust the news. It's like, depending on what other, what news sources you're watching, because they're either on this side or that side instead of reporting like the news. It's ridiculous. Don't forget to press that like button and subscribe, folks. And that bang, Eric, 100%. I forget what I said there, but thank you very much in that because I was up in a little bit. I like to get the. Oh, you're in England right now? 3:20 a.m. See what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
There's someone awake right now in England, in the UK, watching us
that's
at
awesome.
that time. Like, that means the world. I don't give a fuck about thousands and thousands of numbered like this and like that. That alone right there. And thank you, Annette. Thank you very much. We don't own anything except our name. Amen to that. And you seem to know a lot, adorable, deplorable, about like, you know, the spiritual world and God and stuff like that, because I've been reading the stuff you've been writing. And 100% correct. Very entertaining, Loomis. Thank you very much, Susan. And that's on Keith too, because ever since Keith, when we did that episode, man, when I met you first backstage, man, we just boom, like we just. I'm like, this guy's a fucking cop, FBI agent. I'm like, this guy could go. I feel like I could go do some street stuff with him. No, I'm kidding. But you know, like that's just how, you know, I could see how you would be good at that UC work. Guys, the Knicks are up by 20. And all the Knicks fans out there, they're up by 20. Thanks, Matt, for giving us the sport updates. But yeah, Keith, I want to let everyone know that me and Keith, though, like, you know, you're going to be seeing him back. We're going to be trying, though, to work on a segment, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, where, you know, we're working on some type of like name type thing, exactly what the format's going to be. It's going to probably, you know, do with like the addiction recovery type aspect of things and just real talk, like, you know, no holding back. And that's what you're going to get from both of us. I mean, we don't sugarcoat anything, and some of it'll be dark, some of it'll be great, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I remember as a kid playing with the General Lee Hot Wheels car at school, blacks, whites, etc. We didn't look at the General Lee as racial. We were too busy playing.
Oh yeah, General Lee, but Dukes of Hazzard was my jam in the 80s.
Oh, Dukes of Hazzard, yeah. That was my first crush, Daisy Duke. I was born in 81, so that was my first, you know, maybe my first beat-off session. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't have a feel. I don't know.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, dude. I mean, yeah, whenever you want to have me back on, dude, I'm ready to go. I like talking to you because we come from around. I mean, just having the addictions part in common is you know, it's rare when I talk to people on the few podcasts I've done. It's different when you just have to explain it. They don't know where you're coming from or whatever. So yeah, but that end we're very similar in a lot of different ways. So yeah, anytime, man, I'm definitely happy to come on here. I'm an open book. I'll tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear. Good, bad, ugly, you know, it don't matter to me. If people know now somebody out there, then I'm in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And that's what it's all about, man. Like when you called me up and you were like, hey, man, 3 people I know over. I was like, 3. That episode helped 3 people. That was that made my fucking day. And if you folks haven't seen the actual real video episode, it's the last one of the video section, Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith Shibley. Yeah, I think you guys will enjoy it. You know, we have real actual footage of takedowns, you know, from the neo-Nazi guy, and we have footage from the DC shooting. And I just want to show, though, for the people, though, the new people that are on, though, right on real quick, Keith, and then we're going to wrap up. I want to show them, though, if you guys remember that, what was it called? The Navy Yard shooting, right?
Yeah.
There were countless heroes on that September morning when the Washington Navy Yard was just thrown into utter chaos.
That's when a gunman took his life as well as the lives of 12 others. Well, today, one of the first police officers to respond when the shots rang out was honored.
Corporal Keith Shibley is presented the Valor Award for his immediate response and courageous actions during the shooting rampage at the Washington Navy Yard on September
When we found
16th.
people, we would escort them out because we didn't know where the shooter was. So we didn't want to direct people out of the door when the shooter could be around the corner. So half of us would escort them out, half the team would continue, and then when we would just, once they were escorted out, we would meet back up and go back in.
Multiple shots fired, multiple people down.
We didn't know if they were law enforcement shots or from the suspect at the time. They were on multiple levels as we were coming down the steps, but you could hear the shots while we were inside the building.
Can you describe the faces that you were rescuing?
Just shocked and scared. Some were calm and some were shocked and scared. It was just a mix of all emotions. I believe 77 law enforcement officers that entered the building that day, not to mention the countless people that were outside of the building. So it was an effort by the whole community and all the law enforcement partners within the district. It doesn't hit you probably until about time you go home. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I couldn't live with myself knowing that I could do something to save lives and didn't do it. I wouldn't be able to live with myself knowing that I could have done something and didn't do anything at all.
That's awesome, man.
I may or may not have been on opiates during that interview.
I don't mean to laugh, but no, but that's it.
Shit.
That's incredible, though, man. I mean, just to have the courage, though, to do what you did, and I mean, that's just one story that gets the news coverage and stuff like that. That's the tip of the iceberg compared to all the other stuff too, as well, that you've been involved with. I mean, that plane crash that just happened, man. I mean, damn, man. And what hit me hard too, and I remember Kevin was talking about it, was like when you would see like the teddy bears and stuff like that. Was it?
Yeah. So we put all the evidence for NTSB. We had to put in a hangar, so it was like plane parts and stuff. But then it was luggage. So like I guess those big VIP necklaces that I guess all the skaters wore to go wherever they could in the stadium. Like, you were finding those, and ice skates like this big, and that stuff was that stuff messed a lot of people up. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's tough, man. And like, I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but like how you were like saying, it's like bagging evidence though, like, with the partials and stuff and like all that stuff. I mean, damn, Keith. I mean, people, we hear about this stuff, but this man right here though is actually in there. Fucking, he's going in when he's going in when people are running out. If you can't respect that, then I don't know, man. I have all the respect in the world for you, Keith. And
I appreciate that, Loomis.
I'm happy that we met. I think we're going to do some good things together. And yeah, man, my door is always open for you. You're always welcome on. And just thank you, man, so much. And I'm sure everyone who's watching right now really appreciates you coming on here and telling us though your story. Well, not like because it's alive, we fast tracked it. But if you guys want to hear though the real story again, just one last time, quick. It's the last video in the video section up, Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith Shibley. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. Give it a check out. Give it a like. Give this a like. Subscribe. Keith, I can't thank you enough for your time. I'll give you a call tomorrow or whatnot. I talked to your man Adam though too, and I'm going to be talking to him again tomorrow. So thank you for that.
He's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude. So.
Solid gentleman. And he had to run though quick because he had to go do family stuff. But I'm gonna schedule him up. But thank you so much, man, again for the time. And you folks, you'll be seeing a lot of Keith. He's gonna be. We're gonna be working on segments together. So stay tuned.
I didn't come back, man. Appreciate you, Loomis.
Keith, you have a beautiful night, my friend. Thank you. Take care, my man. That right there is Keith Shibley. Great guy. Great guys, been through a lot. Thank to you both. Great interview, Loomis. Bobby, great to hear from you, buddy. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Right on, Keith. All right, guys. Well, and ladies, I want to thank you again. Please check out Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith Shibley. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. We didn't really even touch on a lot of the, what we got into detail with that. And there's a lot of footage. With the other undercover stings and all that stuff and everything that Keith's doing now, going around helping people speak, and he's just genuine. And I'm going to get the link to that foundation. And I'm going to really look into the CMDR, though. I really want to do that. That seems very, very interesting and beneficial. But hit that subscribe button, folks. And we will see you next time on The Loomis Show. And thank you all very much. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a great night. And like I always say, don't take shit from anyone. Don't put anyone on a fucking pedestal. We're all the same. We bleed red. Live it your way, not their way. Till next time.
I don't give a fuck anymore.
Oh, shit. I forgot to put up the thumbnail, but here's just a little clip, if you guys haven't seen, of the episode of Fighting Crime and Demons with Keith. You would take a note at night, and while you're on, and be like, yeah, I'm not going to do a note tomorrow. You know, this is the last. This is the last. Yeah, then tomorrow comes. You make it for about 10 seconds.
Or you space them out. You're like, okay, I'm going to have 5 today, 5 tomorrow, 5 the next day. And then the first day, you're like, all right, we'll have 7 today. Then I'll have 5. But it was miserable, man. It was a miserable existence. I knew I couldn't sustain the pills like I was doing. So I finally went back to my doctor. I'm like, dude, well, he was getting mad at me because every time I'd go, you know, they make you pee when you go to the pain clinic or whatever. Every time I pee, I'd have alcohol in my system. He's like, I told you can't drink on this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, man, sorry. It was important. You know, I'd make some bullshit excuse up that but he just kept giving them to me. But so when I finally told him, I said, I need off of this, man. And he goes, okay, well, don't just stop taking him because you're not going to feel well. I was like, no shit, dude. I'm going to get you on a taper, and we'll taper off of it. I was like, all right, cool. So I did the taper the way I should, man, because I wanted off of it. And as soon as like that taper was done, my alcohol tripled, man. My alcohol went every single day from the time I got off to the time I blacked out. Started at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, there's videos of us on vacation at the beach, and all my nieces put like a talent show together for everybody at the end of the week, and they're trying to wake me up on the couch.